Well, hello, everybody. I've been recording a lot of videos, keeping them to myself for quite a long time, about 3 months now. I've been working on my own healing journey and recording it. And the more that I recorded more videos of myself, the more that I realized that it wasn't about me and my recovery, but it was about getting out there and showing others that recovery is possible. Pretty much the story of the Healing Project and the story of People Talking Sitting Down, the podcast, started out 3 months ago, right before I lost my job. It started out as a journey for my own personal recovery and healing. I have post-traumatic stress disorder from a variety of adverse childhood events, we'll call them for now. At some point I'll be able to tell my story and share a little bit more there. But right now I want to keep things where they are. And this is a big part of that process of getting me ready. But privately, I have dealt, with the demons in my head, and part of the Healing Project and People Talking Sitting Down podcast is that I want to be able to show other people how to deal with things, how I've dealt with things. It's not always the right way. It's not always the best way, and there are many, 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 many other ways, and probably better ways too. But this is the way that I know how. So I'm going to share that, a little bit of that with the world, hopefully to inspire some people, just like I've been inspired by so many people. The first person that comes to mind is the NBA basketball player, Kevin Love, who unfortunately plays for Miami Heat now and not the Sixers. I wanted them to pick him up so I could chat with him selfishly. But about 5 years ago, I read an article by Kevin Love after I had canceled my first 3 therapy appointments when I desperately, desperately, desperately needed help and needed to get in there as soon as possible. I was at a point in my life where I couldn't even drive back to my college town, which is 2 hours away, because I didn't trust myself to not run myself off the road. I thought about it, I dreamed about it, I planned it out, and I would be shaking just at the thought of getting in the car and driving on a long highway and dealing with my thoughts and knowing that I could rip the wheel at any moment and take control. Those were scary thought loops to live in, dangerously scary thought loops to live in. And thankfully I have a wonderful family and support system, friends, family that kept me from, getting in the car and making that drive. And I fortunately had so many friends and family convince me to get into therapy. So I finally, had the courage to schedule the appointments, but then I canceled the first 3. So to get back to the Kevin Love story, I read Kevin Love's article in the Players Tribune about him dealing with his anxiety and having a panic attack on the sideline at an NBA game and not knowing what was happening. And then he wrote about dealing with stuff internally, going in to see a therapist, and then doing the work that he needed to on his mental to get back in the game, literally and figuratively. The reason I bring this up is because that article itself changed the course of my life, saved my life, I truly believe. And it also gave, I don't know how many hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of other young men the courage to go seek the help that they needed. So all I want to do with this is to be able to do the same thing for other people. And I'm not Kevin Love. I'm not rich or famous or anything like that. I'm just a regular guy, just like everybody else who's dealing with hell in their heads, a lot of them. Unfortunately, the stat that I'm going to harp on, and everybody will hear me say it way too many times because it's disgusting and I'm not going to stop saying it until it changes, but men are 405% more likely to commit suicide than females. So men are 405% more likely to commit suicide. They're 38% less likely to seek help for their mental health. That's such a massive and disgusting difference. I don't even know how to compute it in my head. The resources are there, and that's phase 2 of all this work. But phase 1 is just starting to talk about it. As I mentioned, it took me quite a while, not only to get into therapy, but it took me 2 full years of being in therapy to have the breakthrough that I had, which was a realization about my own, mental illness, trauma, and everything going on inside me. It probably wouldn't have taken 2 years if I had realized that I wasn't alone in what I was struggling with. And I know I'm not alone. Neither is anybody else. We're all in this together, and we're gonna figure it out. And the first step in that figuring it out is talking about it. So let's talk about it. Let's be about it. And watch me as I stumble through this whole journey, because I know it's not going to be easy, just like everything else. And I don't know what I'm doing, just like everything else. But let's make it happen. All right, I love you. So the first question that I wanted to ask, because it's fascinating to me, I think I may have asked this before, but we were chopping it up before Friendsgiving. How did you take the news of expecting twins, getting twins, not even like just first finding out you're pregnant. And then like, when did they tell you? Did they tell you like, by the way, it's 2?
So we went on a pretty crazy journey with that. Like I got married, not last January, but January 2022. And I had been with my now wife, Audrey, for 10 years at this point, right? So we started dating. We were sophomore, juniors in high school. A lot of the time, like I was hanging out with you guys. And, dude, yeah, so it was wild. So she wanted kids right away. And I am like, she's just such a stud and like a stallion of a human being that I'm like, listen, like anything she does, like I'm on board, dude. So like, she was like, let's do the wedding and all this. And I'm like, great. And then she's like, all right, like I want to have a kid within a year of getting married. Like we've been together a long time. Like we have a home. Like we're financially very secure at this point. Like she is, I should say that. I'm finishing school, but like I have my little gig, you know what I'm saying? So like we're golden. And dude, so we go and we try naturally for a couple of months. And we knew going in that she had a thing called PCOS, which I don't fully understand it, but essentially what can happen is, and for everyone listening, she's totally cool with me talking about this. Like she has a TikTok that she shares her story and everything on, which is super
I didn't
cool.
even know that.
Yeah.
I'm not on TikTok, so
dude, yeah. So she has, she's talked about it before on there and like got a bunch of support and stuff. But essentially what happened is she has POS, so she won't ovulate on her own, right? But they have infertility help. So we went to Mainline Infertility out of Westchester. Shout them out. They're the nicest people, dude. Like, just I can't say enough
Sponsored
good things about this. Yeah, right. Like I wish, dude. But essentially, what happens is we go through this process, and it's a funny process. We can get into it if we really want to. But essentially, what happened is I put some baby batter into a cup, and then my man Science Bob got in there with like a syringe or whatever and injected it into her, and then you pray and hope, and it never works out on the first time for people, but like I've always been an overachiever in my life. No, I'm kidding. So dude, it worked out.
What are the stats? Like, did they tell you like, hey, you
terrible,
have like 2% chance?
The numbers are dog shit. Like you have like 16% chance or like 9% chance. Twins is 2%, dude. Twins is literally 2% chance that you have that it's 16% you get pregnant at all, and then 2% that you could have twins. And then on the first try, dude, it had to be like 0.01%. Like it's just not possible, bro. So then that you do all that, and then you wait like 2 weeks. Well, my beautiful wife, being the just stud of a person she is, she doesn't wait for shit. Like all goes and gets things done. You know what I mean? So like they told us to wait till like 2 Thursdays to take the test. 2 Wednesdays later, she takes a pregnancy test, and it turns out she's pregnant. It tests, like the thing comes up pregnant or whatever. And dude, so I'm waking up to go to a math class. I'm finishing school. I have 1 more semester left, but I wake up to go to an 8 a.m. math course, dude, which is like already the worst shit you could right? Like,
it's a tough time for math,
bro,
too.
Right? And you're just like, dude, what am I doing? Like, whatever. I'm 27 years old, dude. I shouldn't be going to an 8 a.m. math class.
You need a social science
bro,
at 8 a.m.
Right, dude? Or
like
gym or pickleball or something, dude. So she is always up early or whatever, and I get up at like 7, dude, and I come walking out, and she has like this whole spread on the table that says like a onesie that says hi daddy, and like little shoes and a book and whatever. And like, bro, like I was like I was obviously super excited and happy, but then like I was shook. Like it was like a pure shock moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know what to say. Like I just hugged her and like kissed her, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. And then like she's crying, and then she's like, all right, like have fun at your class. And I'm like, holy shit, dude. So I'm like driving to the class or whatever, and like, so then we go back in for an appointment. I think that like next 2 days or something, maybe that Friday that was on like a Wednesday or something. We go into the doctor, right? Because like she calls, bang, you're pregnant, or like they might have called us. I kind of blacked out at that point. You know what I mean?
So
like
so just to get the timeline right, she takes the test at home,
dude. Yeah.
And so, but that obviously doesn't say like come up with a 2. It could,
no, right?
So it's just like a bar.
So then we went in to the doctor at that point, and then they do an ultrasound, like not the belly one, the other one where they stick like a probe inside your wife. It's fucking crazy. Like you're like, slow down, buddy. Like, right? Like chill out. But yeah, dude. And then like we're looking at the jaunt, like there's 2, bro. And like I don't know what I'm looking at, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I never read an ultrasound before, but they're like, oh my God, congratulations. Like you're having twins. And I was just like, oh, like this is so great. Like, dude, but like I was scared.
Yeah.
I was honestly scared. Like, dude, I've been scared till like a couple months ago. Like just like, dude, like having a kid's hard enough, and now 2, and like we've never done it before. Like, dude, it was wild. It's a wild ride, right? So then, yeah, that's really how it happened, bro. And then we got the pictures, and then like you go around and tell everyone, and they're just like so pumped, and like, dude, I'm so excited, over the moon about it. But yeah, that's kind of how it went down. Is like, it was essentially, dude, it was really a miracle, like,
Yeah.
in all honesty. And like, there's really no other way to describe it. Like,
So the percentage is higher when you do that, because 2% sounds high. Like if you naturally conceive, is
dude,
it?
I don't know. Like,
Insane?
I think that, yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, it would, I really am not sure what exactly the numbers are, but I always just joked, like, I had a running joke. You probably heard me say it, is like, whoever's doing the math in the fertility clinic is fucking up. Like,
Yeah.
like, they're telling people shit. Cause like, dude, like, we literally, it costs a lot of money too. Like, infertility, like, you really, with most insurances, dude, you'll get one, it's called a smart cycle, where you can pay for all those injections and like the sperm shit or whatever. But like, dude, it was $1,500, which like, I get is not like a huge amount of money, but like, bro, like, we're like that's a lot of money to two young people trying to like get their lives going. You know what I'm saying? And like, dude, like, thank God, like, we're, Odd has a fantastic job. I have my little money or whatever. And like, the family's always there to help and all that shit, which is huge. But like, dude, like, we'd see people crying in that office because they can't pay it. Right. We're thinking in our heads. So the reason I brought up the smart cycle is we're thinking in our heads that we're gonna try once just out of pocket and it's not gonna work, and then we'll use our smart cycle once they dial it in. Because every time you go through a cycle of this, they get like data and feedback and blood work and all this shit, and they try to figure out what's gonna work for you, right? So we're like, in our heads, like, we come home and like we write them this check and like we don't know if it's gonna work. And like, dude, me and Odd sat down and we're like crying together one night, or we're just like, all right, like if it works, great, but like it probably not, and like this just isn't our time and whatever. And dude, that next week we found out.
And you gotta, like, you have to prepare yourself for the worst.
Dude, yeah, like, and especially like we're gonna get into, like, my life, like, dude, like, I've always been, it's like the opposite of an optimist. Like, I always just plan for like the super negative and then like do everything I can to make that not happen. And like, this process just really showed me that, like, dude, like pray for the best, dog. Like, what do you, like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess like you're saying, yeah, you're like putting on your armor to kind of like be able, and like, I knew that I would be okay, bro. Like, I'm good either way, but that would have killed her.
Yeah.
Like, literally would have crushed her.
And then for you to have to see that.
Dude, it's horrible, bro. It's horrible. Like, it's bad enough with one of our boys or whoever goes through some shit. Like, dude, your wife, like, that's my best friend for the past 10, 12 years, dude. Like, that would have been bad, but like, yeah, man, like, it worked out and I'm so pumped. And then a couple, a month down the line maybe, or like 3-4 weeks, like, they're like, do you want to take the test to figure out their genders? Like, so I guess with twins, they can like kind of test something with your
for another $500.
Dude, yeah. It was so expensive, but I think insurance got loud. I didn't see the bill for that, Chris. So I'm gold. But like, dude, so we're like, yeah, we want to do it. Cause like, dude, like, we're both like planners, and like, I didn't want that big of a surprise. Like, come the day, like, dude, like, you got the nurse, you got all the shit you got to do and like buy and like have ready for the kid. Like, I want to know what they are.
And even mentally.
Dude, right? 100%.
Like,
right?
am I going to be a coach? Am I going to be, am I softball?
Yeah, like doing ponytails and shit, or am I like throwing the rock around? You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, either way would have been cool. One of each, 2 girls, 2 boys, whatever. We do this blood test or whatever, and she gets the result one day. We have a TikTok of it. It's funny as shit. Like, I can show it to you after. Like, I'll send it to you if you want to post it. You can. Like,
yeah, we can put it. Apparently, we can put it in. That's what everybody else does.
So, like, she comes down and she's reading the thing, and of course, like, she's reading it like over my shoulder, and I'm like, yo, like, what is it? And she's just like, relax. And she's reading all these numbers, and then we get down to the bottom. It's like 96% both fetuses are male. And I was just like, dude, in the video, it's so funny. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, word. Then I'm like, that's a win. Like, that's a big win for your boy. Like, dude, that's a big win for me, man. Like I said, it would have been cool either way, but I have 2 boys coming, Thomas Paul Jr. and then Theodore Gregory. So like, Tommy and Teddy, dude, like, we got their nursery dialed in. So yeah, that was a hell of a process, but like, dude, I would do it again a million times.
Yeah, that's insane. And it's funny thinking 2 boys or 2 girls, because I think the hardest would be 1 and 1.
Yeah.
Where it's like, now you're thinking both ponytails and
and like, dude, like, at least I'm having 2 boys, or like you said, 2 of each. You can at least just get doubles of everything. Like, that's what we've been doing.
Same size.
Yeah, 1 and 1, like, that could get, dude. That's, I mean,
I have a younger brother. A year and a half younger. And I look back at the pictures and I'm laughing. I was like, wait, we were just in the same clothes at all times.
Bro, right?
Like, shopping had to be like way easier.
Oh, you're not kidding, dude.
Yeah. But that was the next thing I wanted to ask about, with like Audrey, and marriage just in general. I mean, I'm 27.
I'm 27.
27. But you were the first of our entire friend group to get married, first off, and then second, you were together forever. You were high school, so 10 years. That's got to be sophomore, junior year?
Yeah, like, I think we started dating, like, so sophomore year, like apparently Audrey was in my homeroom freshman year. I don't really remember, but like, so yeah, Odd is a magical creature where like, dude, she was like student council, like whatever. And I was like just like partying my balls off or like doing not student council. Like I was doing extracurriculars in a whole different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, dude, it was weird. So like, she was always like the volleyball and like the next president of the school we went to, you know what I mean? Like that was her whole MO.
Yeah.
And then, she started hanging out with one of her girlfriends who's very good friends with one of our friends. And one of our boys actually took her to a dance. I think it was at the end of sophomore year, like the last dance, like the spring fling or whatever you call it. Like, and then I've naturally had the after party, right?
Yeah.
Like, and, dude, she showed up and I was like, wow, like one, I'm like, dude, she's beautiful. Like she's absolutely stunning. And then like two, I'm like, this chick is like just so cool and like down to earth and not like worried about like, dude, all the other girls at the party like running around trying to get drunk, like hook up with some dude. And like, Odd was like, bro, like, why don't we just like chill out for a second? Like, let's just sit down and like talk or like whatever. You know what I mean? And I was like, dude, that's where I want to be with. That next day after the party, we had lacrosse practice at school, right? And she's cleaning up from the dance. And like,
of course,
right? Like, of naturally, right? I'm like, of course she is. Like, she's just a good human. But like, yeah, dude. And then I came back from practice. She like happened to be walking out, and like where we went to school, it's like the calf exit doors here, and like the field we played on was right here. So we kind of just like met right there, and I was like, hey, like,
helmet on, helmet off.
Dude, look at this lettuce.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, you saw it coming,
dude. Right? No, but like, dude, sweaty and gross, and like all the boys are there, and like, I was like, oh, we're all gonna go to Chipotle. Like, do you want to come?
No way.
And she was like, 100%, and I was like, dude, this is the girl.
That's
bro.
it.
Like, dude, you know what I mean? Like, just like, not like it wasn't like it was me and her going. Like, dude, she's with 5 dudes that are just sweaty and like, bro, you know lacrosse equipment. Anyone listening, lacrosse equipment's the worst smell. Like hockey's the only other sport that's even close. Like, dude, it's just nasty, bro. You just smell like bleach and ammonia and like sweat and balls. Like, it's horrible.
You got eye
like,
black
dude, and she's like,
face.
she's like sitting in the back with like the boys just covered and like, dude, we just had a sick day. And then from then on out, dude, we were just been inseparable. Like, it's wild.
That's beautiful. That's actually my sign. You know, meeting a lot of our, like, honestly, I think that we have one of the best friend groups in the world. And not only do we have such a beautiful friend group, but all of the girlfriends of all of our friends are absolutely wonderful. Magical. And we have a friend, you know, we won't, you know, say names, but we have a friend who has a new girlfriend, and people ask me like, yo, you know, what do you think about her? What do you think about her? I was like, well, the first time she met us at the bar in Philly, and there was 5 dudes. We're all hanging out. We're having beers at 11:30 a.m. and she comes and sits down and is able to hang out. And I'm like, I don't need to know anything about her. That's the sign of like somebody who can, like, if you can hang, you know, like,
oh my God, 100%,
you're doing it,
man, 100%. And yeah, I don't know. We really, it was honestly like lacrosse, I think, brought us all together, right? Like, for real. Like, and like, shout out Jim. Like, I'm not going to say his last name, but like, dude, I think we all owe him a lot.
Yes.
And like, it's, I don't know. That's tough to like really thank somebody for that. Like, how do you thank someone? Be like, dude, you met, like, dude, those are the cats that were standing with me at my wedding.
You changed my life,
bro, right? You for real.
And that's what I always think about with lacrosse and friendships in general, because we're getting older. Yeah. And another topic that I like to talk about is guys and making friends. Where do you make new friends? I've been down here in the city for 5 months. I've met one friend, of like a new guy, and it's not like we've hung out or anything, but like that's when you meet friends drinking, and that's my kind of like thought about it, is that we became friends in not the locker room, but the hotel rooms, playing mini lax on the bus. I remember clear as day. I think we're in Maryland. We're in the hotel lobby. There's Laxachusetts kids all over the place, and I'm riding with your dad. And that's that was my thing, was that a lot of times with being one of 4 kids, my parents weren't exactly on the trips, so I was always rolling around, tagging along. Your dad's like, "Yo, get in, get in the Cadillac," and I'm like, "Yo, it's a bus." And like, I just remember that, and I remember those are the memories that, again, they're 100%. Still with me. That us becoming friends without drugs, alcohol, anything like that. I always say, like, I learned how to like make friends in line drills.
Dude, yeah.
People always talk,
that's actually hilarious.
How can you just like, how are you able to talk to anybody? It was like, well, because like you spend so much time in youth sports, and especially lacrosse, for whatever reason. I don't know. I mean, do you have any ideas on that? Why lacrosse is a very social, because you'd think baseball the same way, because you're on the bench, you're hanging out. But I wonder what it is about lacrosse that...
Dude, I think it's truly like, for me with lacrosse, it's like if you look at like where it came from, like the native background, like, and I think that's very true. It's like, dude, that was their religion. Like that was their brotherhood. That was their
creative game.
tribe, right? Like, and like, I think, not that we were ever aware of that, but I think on the lacrosse field, like you do truly understand that those are your brothers. Like those are like your family. And like, I think that's what it was, bro. Like, especially like I didn't play offense, right? So I played defense. So like, dude, like if it was like someone hits one of our guys, like it's on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and like you could hate that kid, but like, dude, he's wearing the same color as you. So like, we're going to stick up for him. So maybe that's what it is.
You did it. I remember.
Right? But, dude, yeah, I think I don't know. It's that's an incredible question.
Yeah.
That like, I don't know.
Because it feels like there's and it makes me sad.
Dude, it is different than other sports. Like, dude, I played football. I played everything. Like, it is very... Football, it was kind of close, but, like, that was with, like, the O-line. Like, those 5 guys. Not all 30 of us.
Yeah.
Right? Like...
The only one that I think is close, and I'm not sure... I can't speak much about either sport because I know, but, like, I feel like swimming has a little bit of that. Mm. And... I wonder if that's you're spending so much time in the pool together. Yeah. So you're like, even like,
dude,
again, like
suffering.
Yeah. And we'll talk about like energy and waves and stuff like that. So like, I wonder if that's some sort of bonding. And then wrestling. Yeah. I mean, wrestling is the one where it's like.
Wrestling makes a lot more sense to me. Like there's like 15 dudes on the team. And then like, dude, you are going through it if you're wrestling.
And the kids, I mean, my high school specifically was like nasty at wrestling. They're state qualifying.
Bro, I went to some of your guys' wrestling matches. Didn't even go to school.
Yeah, they're like sellouts. Yeah, and these kids are. We had competing fan clubs.
Yep.
We had, and one got
it was t-shirts. I have a camo shirt from that.
Yeah,
like
you still have that?
Yeah,
so it was called but we got in trouble.
But
that was literally so. I think that and we'll talk a bit more about this, but like I think we're in a weird middle generation where we kind of like grew up. Again, so we're 6 years old and 9/11 happens. And that's when a lot of things just in general started changing. Yeah. Like politics, everything, being politically correct. So like it was, I'm wondering what year, probably 2012, because I graduated in 14. Mm-hmm. And there was an old school, like school sponsored fan club. And then one of the kids, they made the juniors, the captains, and the seniors were like fighting back against that about the fan club. Mm-hmm. And they called it the Terror Squad.
Yeah.
And dude, the Terror Squad, sickest T-shirts ever.
I remember you guys doing that.
And the school was like, no, that's like terroristic threats. And we're like, again, like that was the turn. At that age, that was when things got like, we're just like trying to have some fun here. Yeah. And it's like a blast. And it brought so much energy to the wrestling team. The wrestling team, instead of having warm-ups, they wore the Terror Squad shirts. And it was great. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. And now we're, now we're past that, but good segue because the thing that I'm interested in now is your coaching. Yeah. So like I would love to hear about not only the why that you care so deeply because again you're my buddies who are still coaching lacrosse. I'm like, yo, it's Saturday. You're up at 7 a.m. 6:30. Practice starts at 8. You got like the ball bucket, like all of it. It's just me being a referee, I was like I'm out on the coaching. Like I just can't do it.
Yeah. So. My journey in coaching was a little crazy. Like, it also ties in with like the drugs and all that stuff, kind of crazy. So like, the long and short of it is, I went up to West Virginia, and that was like I was gonna try and get out of this area after high school and go to West Virginia University and like get away from all this and like try to get my life back on track and like all that stuff. And just, dude, I flopped. Like I just went up there and partied and did whatever. Like failed out of school, so like I had to come home.
How fast?
2 years. So I did 2 years up there, which like. Shout out. No. No. I just wasn't right, dude. Like I was driving home every weekend to get perks and like then like trying to sell them at school and drinking my ass off when I didn't have them and just, dude, it was a mess, right? So wasn't going to class at all. I didn't fail because I couldn't do the work. I failed because I didn't go. So I was either too hungover or too fucked up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I come home and Paul Myers, who, I don't know if we should say it. I want to bleep that out. But anyway, like one of the guys that used to coach us, he is a coach at the school I currently coach at. And he said, listen, man, like you have a skill set. You're very, very good. You're not going to come home and just sit on your ass. And like, he didn't know any of the shit I had going on the side, dude. And he like really like kind of like saved my life, dude. He was like, you're going to come out and you're going to coach and you're going to coach the JV defense and then help me on varsity. And then we're going to do this. Like you from 3 to 5, you're with me every day. And I was just like, man, like at first I was like, dude, I don't know, bro. Like, and he was like, he didn't take no for an answer. Yeah. Like he was like, no, like you're going to do this.
And he didn't know.
Dude, had no idea.
Do you think at that point, did anybody know? Would he have gotten an inkling from somebody? Because like that's, I mean, I know him.
Like, dude, the boys knew and like Odd knew, but like nobody knew how bad it was.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They had no idea.
For a while.
Like, dude, a long time. Like I literally would drive 4 hours to the city, grab my stuff, and drive 4 hours back to school. Like wouldn't go home, wouldn't do anything. Like, dude, 8 hours in the car every week. Like that's insanity. But so the coaching thing, dude, I show up for my first day and like, dude, immediately loved it. Just like fell in love with it. And like, you're doing it for the kids, man, which is like kind of like my whole life now is like doing shit for the kids. But like, bro, like just like you said, like the structure of it, dude, like we got to be here at 2:30 and set up this drill. And here's our practice plan. And here's our lifting plan. And here's all that. And I just jumped head first in there, dude. And like, we did pretty good. Like I won 2 state championships, coaching defense. Like, I don't know, I had a knack for it and like really enjoyed it. And then like the after was sick too. Like being able, like every day after practice, like we go into the office or like go over to PJ's and like have beers and set up the next week or like what's the next team or like we're going to scout a game. Like, you know what I mean? Dude, I just fell in love with it. And I don't know, it helped me too. Like there's a select group of kids that like the coaches there will like, if they see someone going down like a vicious path, they'll be like, yo, like go call, like you need to do 30 minutes with Coach Tom.
Yeah.
And like, so I have a kid now that's struggling mentally. And like, dude, the other day at practice, like he looked at me and like, I almost cried when he said it. He was like, dude, you're the only reason I'm here. And I was like, oh, bro. Like, and he's like, dude, he's like, if I ever make it, like, I'm shouting you out like every time. And I'm like, dude, like, bro, like you can't, like, come on. Like we're in the middle of practice. Like, dude, I got to be like tough and like whatever. But like, dude, like that's why I did it. And like, I've helped a couple kids get through some really serious shit. And like, I don't know, dude, now I'm the head JV coach. This is my 3rd year being head JV coach. And like, bro, like I just try to make it like, one, we're there to get better and I want you to improve mentally and physically. But like the main part is like mentally. Like, dude, like we're out here to have fun.
And again, back to lacrosse. It's like, you're not going to remember.
No.
Like,
bro, you're not going to remember that we beat whatever school by 30.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're going to remember that time when like so-and-so was, walking so-and-so like a dog in the middle of the laps.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's about. And like the people. So like.
And you said they're going to be like, that's the thing is these are going to be the guys in your wedding.
Yes.
Dude. And that's something that I, playing lacrosse. And unfortunately I played, I played my whole life. So 5, 6, 7 years old, I started. And since I was probably 9 or 10 years old, I was a right-handed attackman. I played with a left-handed attackman that was 1 grade older than me. And he, as we'll talk about, many people get hooked on pills because of an injury. I forget if it was an ankle, a wrist, or whatever. And we're in high school, and it's it's kind of like there's 1 or 2 kids that are smoking weed before practice, and at that point I had never smoked weed, so I was like all annoyed and whatnot. And I'm taking it so seriously. I cared so much about lacrosse at that point, and I was just heartbroken to hear that this was like happening. Yeah. And not to say that, things could have been different, but he ended up passing away. He went on an entire journey for the next, from when that happened, getting hooked in high school, to 7, 8 years later. And crazy enough, I had a dream. It was more of a nightmare the other night, but he was in the dream and I was able to tell him, like, I love you. Dude, and to be able to have that, and like, that's the work you're doing as a coach. And that's the important, that is coaching. You're a life coach. And I'm glad there's people like you that are doing it, because, I'm just like, hats off to you. It's
thanks, man.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Dude, it's a wild ride, but it's exactly what you said. Like, I'm here for the well-being of the student. I don't care if we win or lose. I have some kids come out that aren't good at lacrosse and they shouldn't be out there, but like, I fight for them to stay on the team because they need it. Dude.
Yes.
Like, homie can't catch, he can't throw, he literally can't, like, he's walking with 2 left feet out there, but like, dude, he needs to be here. Like, and like you said, like, that's the things that'll go places.
And it's not about playing time. I always laughed about that, because especially the team we were on, but these kids were nasty. I was like one of the only kids to not go D1.
Yeah.
And honestly, my dad, sometimes was, again, we invested a lot in lacrosse, a lot of time.
It's a lot of money, dude.
That too. And he, when he'd ask about playing time, I'm like, I literally don't care. Like, I'm sorry, but like I'm having the time of my life out there. Also, it's summer. It's 107 on the turf.
Yeah.
I'm good over here.
Right? Like,
I remember playing in the Keystone games. I put my sunglasses in my helmet. Like I'm messing around. And
that was such a fun tournament, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We were nasty.
I think that's like, back to your question about the youth sports thing and stuff. I think that's when our friend group really came together. Cause that's like when we met like Dill and like all the kids that weren't part of our direct team.
Yeah.
Like that's when they all came in and like, dude, we beat every team by 20. Like that was a gong show.
It's funny you mentioned because I remember we were like the fourth and fifth attackmen, and we were always on the sidelines together, not getting much tick. Because again, it's a serious tournament. You want to win, like There's the other guys that are going D1.
The first time you could compete against everyone in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and it's like with your county, it was cool. I mean, it was a crazy experience, and funny enough, I always tell people about that him specifically, and I said this is the memory that I have of him, and he was by far the best college captain out of everybody. It wasn't even close. And again, like you were saying, like was he that great then? No, but when you work at it, when you keep going, and when like who knows what these kids will turn into, and yeah, I mean, I guess one of the things I've been most interested in, this is another reason I'm so excited about this podcast, because I can ask questions that have been on my mind that I have not, like, I'm not going to ask like when we're at the bar or something like that. But growing up in the situation that you grew up in, with the pressures, not only with lacrosse sports, but I think it's fair to say, and I don't know how to comfortably say this, but you drive by your house and it's like, it's a sight, and it's like, whoa, it's like, like there's all different kinds of paths people come from. And I think something that gets looked over is like, oh, he's got money. Who cares? Who cares about what's going on in his head? He's got, well, they always talk about like Ben Simmons in basketball. It's like, oh, he's got, 150 mil. He should be fine. Bro, he's a human being with issues that we all face. And like the fact, like money doesn't help. If anything, it can make it worse.
Dude, so thank you so much. All right, first, I don't want to cut you off there, but dude, thank you so much for saying that, because I've said that my whole life and people look at me like I'm crazy. Yeah. So like, for everyone listening or whoever, like, all right, I'll just jump into this real quick. I try not to sound like a spoiled whatever or like. Yeah.
It is what it is. You didn't ask. You didn't ask.
Yeah, I thought I always did a pretty good job, and like our family, it's very important in our family to remain humble and like don't whatever. But I don't know, dude. I grew up. My dad is like, I don't know. He's extremely, extremely wealthy. Like just had everything we could possibly ask for and want and more. Right. So. The big thing we talked about, like before we started, was like living up to expectations, right? So like, my family is very, very well respected, mainly because of my father, and my mom's wonderful too. But like, behind every great man's a better woman.
Yeah, I love that.
Like,
I love that,
dude. It's the truth with my mom and my wife as well. Like, it's unreal. Like, we wouldn't be where we are without them. So yeah, he's a very, very high business executive in the area, and always has been. And it was crazy growing up, like just like he's not like a celebrity or anything, but like when we would walk through town, like people would be like, come up and like, oh, like so and so, like this is my fan, and like just constantly like, dude, I remember in the Dallas airport one time, I will never ever forget this, dude. I was. We're in Philadelphia, by the way. Yeah, we're in Philly, by the way. I'm in the Dallas airport, dude. I'm 12. We're walking through to get a connecting flight to like some family vacation we were going to with like our whole family, and like some guy just comes out of like the bookstore and is like, Tim Seifert, like whatever, and like we were like, dude, what the shit is going on here? Like, dude, who is this guy? Like, and so there was always like that era of like respect and just whatever, and like. I have struggled my whole life to this day to try to live up to that. And like, I've talked to him about it, and he's like, dude, like, is that honestly how you felt your whole life? And I'm like, yes, bro. Like, I always feel like I'm your son and I'm not me. Yeah. Like, I'm Tim's son. I'm not Tommy. Like, and dude, that carried a lot of weight, and still to this day. And like, it's hard to contextualize or put it into words, like how that feels. Like, you really can't. And like, dude, for anybody listening out there that like feels that, like I'm sure they can relate to what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure you can like,
and that's something that like, and on a different level, but the same way that I was raised as my dad, mom, both small business owners. My dad drove a car around and had his other two kind of like top employees drive a car around with his full name on it. Yeah. Physical therapy on the side, like, and I remember, and I felt the same way. I felt as if. Again, when you're out there in the world, you're not Christopher. your last name, and that's why you're like, I felt like I was on stage. I felt like it was a show. I felt like, again, and it's hard now as an adult to look back and be like, I don't know if resentful is the right way, because there's a little bit of that, but it's also the reason that I am the way that I am. Because again, people are always like, how can you talk to anybody? And I'm like, well, my dad would flip me a quarter every time that I told one of his patients, one of the ladies, that their hair looked nice today. And then when I shook a guy's hand and looked him in the eye and like had conversations with them. So I'm like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old having these adult conversations. And again, I felt like a billboard in a way. I felt like you're, and the same thing, another thing that I struggle with my own journey was, we're going to church every Sunday with my mom, and my mom's teaching CCD, and the same thing. It's like, I'm in there, we're acting up in the other class, and then like my mom's the teacher on the other side. So I always tried to, it was a tightrope that I was trying to balance.
I just didn't want, like, my whole thing, and still to this day, is like, dude, I never want to disappoint. And sometimes, dude, like growing up and like doing all this, and like becoming whatever half of an adult that I am, it's like, dude, you're gonna disappoint. It's part of the deal. But it's truly like one of those things. It's like, how do you bounce back from that? Or like, that's what people want to see. Like, dude, like, how resilient are you? And like, those are the things that I missed growing up from my parents, that like, I understand now that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like,
they
didn't, they never directly put any pressure on me or said anything to me about being this or whatever. It's just how I felt being around them and whatever. Like you said, like, it's on show. And yeah, man, realistically, dude, they were teaching me to stand on my own feet, right? Like, you know.
And it gets lost in translation,
dude,
is the struggle. And that's what my therapist always says. And oddly enough, she's a child therapist, and a lot of my trauma is from childhood. So like, I will be grilling myself, and she'll say, look in the waiting room. These kids are 7, 8, 9 years old. Would you judge them the way that you're judging yourself?
Absolutely not.
And I'm like, what? No, like, no, of course not. And she's like, well, that's what you're doing. You're looking at your child, the child within you, with adult eyes. And it's like, and we never have those breaks. That and something that, you know, we'll talk about is, getting into psychedelics and stuff like that. That's what I think gives you an opportunity to be like, whoa, like, get outside yourself a little bit and be like, oh my God, I've been crushing myself about, the child within me. And yeah, it's and like your dad, like you said, your dad was like, wait, that's really how you felt?
Bro, like within the last like couple years, we've really sat down and talked about it. And he like almost got emotional and was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, dude, you didn't, like, there's nothing, like, you were doing you, like, you were doing everything you could. But like, there's a quote by like Plato or Aristotle, it might have been Alexander the Great or someone. It says, the sons of great men all struggle. And like, dude, that holds true if you look around or look through life. Like, if you have a parental figure that is just at the like precipice of perfection and everything you could possibly be, like, dude, like, how are you going to stack up to that? You can't, and you shouldn't feel that way. Like, I think about it too, like, dude, their house, like you brought it up. Amazing, beautiful, like, it's a mansion in the town. Like, it's sick. Like, it's so cool. Best place you could possibly grow up. And like, I used to like talk with my older brother and be like we'd be driving away to like go to school or something. And I'd be like, dude, like, how are we ever going to compare to that? Like, how are we ever going to match that? Cause like, that's all a parent wants, is their kid to do better than they did.
Yeah.
How the fuck am I supposed to do that? And I remember like, and he'd be like, dude, like you don't have to, bro. Like, what do you mean? Like, he got it. Like, he kind of got it, right?
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, now that I think back on my life, like where I'm at now, dude, I love my little life.
Yes.
I have a 4-bedroom house. I have a wife. I'm about to have 2 kids. I got a dog. I have a little yard. We drive American-made car. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And you
like,
want, like,
dude,
you want, you're you.
100%.
And that's what,
like,
as we were chatting before we started, was like, I was like, I'm going to struggle. And before the practice session, I was like, I struggled when I was trying to be somebody else.
Yes.
And now that I'm being, if you just be yourself, that's winning. And that's the part that again, and I still work towards it. I mean, it's still like, I've got my good days, and that's kind of my thing is like, look, like 99% of the time, I'm good.
Oh yeah,
I'm chilling, but that 1% is scary, and real I still bad. Have those.
I'm saying for myself.
Yeah,
too,
but everybody, real bad.
Yeah,
for real, and that's an understatement. Like it is scary. It's a dark place in your head, and we all, again, that's my whole thing, dude. It's why I'm doing this. It's why these conversations just need to be had, because these are things that everybody else is going through, no matter if it's in that exact way or anything else. Even things as you could think, the idea that just popped into my head, like imagine if your dad, you and your dad is, but like just shredded or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like, you're for girls. I mean, God.
Well, dude, my sister, like, I feel very bad for her sometimes. My mom, dude, she's beautiful. She's a twig. And like, I don't know, dude, my sister's just not built like that. Like, she's a power skater her whole life.
Yeah.
Like, she's got muscles and all this shit. And like, dude, would get really, really upset. Like, till like, within like the last couple years, really found herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, is happy where she's at. And like, but no, I get it, dude. It's the living up to expectation thing will literally like bring men to their knees.
Yeah. And that's the I mean,
it needs to change, to be fair. Like, the stigma behind all that needs to change.
Yeah.
Like you said, dude,
all of it.
be you. Like, for a long time, we were being that Tropic Thunder line. I'm a dude disguised as a dude playing another dude. Yeah. Like, bro, it's funny as shit, but like, it's true, bro. Just be you.
And you're trying to be, and that's back to the the son's struggle and whatnot. Like, there's that, and I don't know how to say it exactly, but there's that like 3-generation problem where it's like when you're born. And then you don't grow up in the best family home or whatever it is, and then you make it, then your kid has like is used to that life, and then their kids are really used to it, which is like why it seems to me from the outside, it's all happening the way it's supposed to avoid that. Because like, again, you're like, I love my life.
Oh my God, now, for a long time, no. But yeah, that's the like paradox of like hard men create easy times create easy men create hard times. Yeah,
it's a cycle, and that's the entire, and as I was mentioning, the business plan that I'm building behind this podcast and company is like, all of this is a cycle. So if we can just restart the cycle to be like, all right, we can have conversations like this. You can be 27 years old and talk about the fact that you felt like expectations from your father, and again, the whole thing with like, who cares, like what, I guess the particulars of it and the details, because we all go through that. The expectations of it, like everyone feels that and looks up, because that's the other thing that gets confusing is you look up and your parents are your heroes.
Yep.
And then you get older and you're an adult and you're like, oh wait, like here are the cracks and these are the things. And like, and again, they didn't mean to, and they didn't, it is what it is, but we all get onto this road, and depending on what age, like, I always say like when you start, we were talking about, we're friends because we were friends in line drills and hotels and stuff like that. But then you start drinking, and then you start, and for some younger than others, I was probably 14, 15 years old, and I'll never forget my best friend, who you know very well. He drank one night, and I was so upset. I was crushed, because I always said I was never going to drink. I was never going to drink. Yeah,
me too. I think we all did.
Yeah, I was never going to drink, and I was so mad. And then of course you start drinking. So like, when was the first time that you either started drinking or?
Okay, so
you're.
Dude, yeah,
I'll just. We'll get to the journey, and we'll get to like what was domino number one?
Domino number one was smoking weed. So 8th grade summer, going into high school, we rented a shore house down in Jersey, and I will never ever forget it, dude. We were out one night just like doing like the whatever 8th grader boardwalk thing, like trying to meet girls or something. Dude, who knows? Like, you just walk up and down for hours and just like end up talking about my boys. Like, this is ridiculous. Dude. Like, what am I doing out here? Like, I don't want to talk to this girl. I'm scared to death. Bro. Like, just not confident in myself. Like, just scared to death. Right. So I come home one night, and it was like right on the little boardwalk thingy or promenade or whatever you call it. And it was the last house. And I like hop on the deck, and like there's a group of guys there, and they're just ripping one-hitters or whatever. And I'm like, dude, like at first, same thing. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Like, I'm going to D1, like I'm going to Duke, dude. Like, we can't, like, no, like this is so bad. And then they were like, yo, you got to chill out a little bit, buddy. And I'm just like, not your buddy.
Take a hit of this, you'll chill.
Yeah, I'm not your buddy, but word, right? So it's exactly what happened, dude. They're like, yo, get a rip of this. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. I do it. And then, dude, whoever said or came up with the theory that, like, you're not going to get stoned your first time is an idiot. Like, they're probably running fertility numbers at Mainline, dude. Like, I'm serious. Like, I'm like, who the hell? Like, dude, I was cooked. And, like, dude, for the first time in my life, like, I really, like, felt, like at peace, dude. Like, I was, like...
Really?
Dude, I was just sitting there in a chair, like, under, like, the sun and the way... Like, you can feel the ocean spray coming. Like, wow. Dude, and just, like, was like, oh, my word, like, wow, is this how people feel normally? That's what I thought.
Wow.
Dude. I literally, dead ass, was like, oh, like, this is how...
You're supposed to feel.
Dude, you're not anxious. I'm not rethinking what I said to some girl on the boardwalk, right? Wow. And I'm like, oh, my God, like, this is it. So then, dude, from then on, it was on. Like, so, dude, we smoked the next night, and then would smoke every day before school. And, like, all... Like, that's where that really started. And, like... I don't necessarily think. Obviously, you shouldn't smoke before school. That's just dumb. Like, you're just like, you got people all the time like, it makes me smarter. Like, no, it doesn't. Like, no, it doesn't, dude. Like, you're way
Unless you're already
smarter.
brainiac level.
Dude, like, yeah, like even if you are, like, we have a couple friends that are geniuses that like they get on and just like, dude, shut up. Right. So like, that happened, and then, dude, so that was like in like July.
Yeah, wait,
August,
but just to take a time out real quick, like
right.
the interesting thing that again, like these are the things that need to be talked about. We look at kids and so you're how old at that age?
Dude, I was 13.
13. So you look at the kids at 13 and you said, oh, he's drugs, he's a bad kid, he's that. Inside his head, he just felt normal for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's why he's doing it.
Yeah.
So like, that's what's going on.
And like, bro, I was part of a crowd. I was part of like older kids and like felt cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for real. Like
Older kids are doing it.
Dude, right?
They're cool.
Or like
they're talking to the girls.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this guy's got a baddie. Like, let me smoke some weed and hang out with him.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, but yeah, like truly. So like, you're exactly right. Like people, like that's the stigma behind it is like, okay, anytime, and I'll probably come back to this point, like you don't have a drug and alcohol problem. You have a problem with you.
Yeah.
Like I have a Tommy problem. Dude. I don't have a drug and alcohol problem. That's how I manifest. Like that's how I get past the real problem is I use those things to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
That's what it is, dude. And that's how it was then. And I didn't understand or know that back then. But like, dude, yeah, like I vividly remember sitting down and just being like, oh my God.
I had a Tommy problem. That's
dude, right? Like you have a Chris problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't have a drug and alcohol problem. You have a problem with yourself.
Yeah. I also always said with I was like, cause like alcoholic, I'm not even one to drink that much, but I always said I'm a yesaholic.
Dude, hell yeah.
Whatever everybody else was doing,
Bro.
like you said,
Dude, right?
just cause I didn't know myself. I wasn't comfortable with myself. I was trying to turn it off. I was trying to numb myself.
And then you get in those situations, you're like, I don't even want to be here. But like, I want to be part of the crowd so bad that like, I'm doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
Like I remember we were little and whatever, we know who we're talking about, but you know, did some shit down the beach, some like criminal shit that like, dude, should have never ever been there, knew he shouldn't have been there, knows better than
Isn't
that.
even his character.
Dude, right?
There's nothing.
Just wanted to did it because he thought that was like the cool shit to do. And I guess that happens to everybody, like whatever. That's like the peer pressure thing. But so then alcohol, dude. So that was in like July. August comes. I make JV football as a freshman, which like, well, he's been a pretty solid athlete.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Dude, like football,
That's
like,
huge.
I like to hit, like whatever. Like, dude, that shit shows up when like you're playing. That's a good things to have.
Yeah.
So I make JV football, but JV players and varsity are essentially the same team. And then JV just plays Mondays, whereas varsity will play Fridays, like Friday Night Lights, right? But you're at the games. I was playing kickoff as well, like all the special teams too, because like, dude, why not? Like I coach now, like bro, like you got to get some of those. Like you don't want to put.
I was the long snapper.
Dude, yeah,
that was my role.
Like, dude, you don't want to put your starters out there on special teams in case some shit goes down, right? Dude, I run down on kickoff. We're playing Oxford. I'll never ever forget it. Friday night, first game of the season. We run down on kickoff, dude. I go to tackle this kid. I get cooked, like just from behind, like someone like dude hit me in the back of the head, like, and I'm 90% sure I had a concussion, like, 90% sure. But like, dude, I'm not gonna be a bitch. Like, I'm not whatever. Like, we get back to school or whatever, and then like some kids are like, "Yo, like you're on the team. Like so and so's having a party, dude. One of the seniors." Like, and I'm like, "Oh my god." Like,
now
dude,
I'm cool,
bro. Right? I'm like, I just got invited to a senior party as a freshman, dude. Like, and our school wasn't even really like that, with all the weird. But like, dude, in my head, I'm like, "Oh my god." We didn't even have school yet, bro. Like, school didn't even open yet. There's always we always have a game,
and you're
dude.
Like, and then the seniors like, I mean, that happened to me.
And they're like, this kid is so cool. Like, so dude, I rock up and I'm like pretty sure I have a concussion, whatever. But I'm still there. And like, dude, I'm having a sick time. Someone hands like when you get a concussion, you get real thirsty.
Yeah.
Dude, someone handed me the old school Gatorade bottles, like the big boys.
Yeah.
And it was clear and I was like, oh thank God, like water. Dude, it was Vlad. And I just canned half of it. Like just like without even thinking. Just, and then dude, I once again felt incredible.
And that was your first time?
It's my first time drinking, right? Dude, I felt so unreal, Chris. I'm playing like beer pong with all the guys and the girls, and everyone's like, oh my God, this kid's so cute. Like, and I'm like, dude, I'm the guy right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the guy. Like, I feel so good. So the weed made me feel normal. The booze, dude, made me feel like I was like top dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you feel like you're like on Friday Night Lights.
I feel like I'm on top of this building right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, dude, I'm doing it. Like, I'm awesome, right? I end up throwing up all over my boy, like just all over him, dude. And then like the pictures go around school, but like we're like that should have been like, dude, like here's a picture of you just throwing up all over this kid, like just like blacked out of your face, like whatever. And then I was like, yeah, but like people are talking about me.
Yeah.
Like,
What's the saying? It's like any news is good news,
dude,
or
right?
whatever.
And no publicity is bad
Yeah,
publicity,
yeah,
or something like that.
yeah.
Dude, for real. Like, and
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this is so sick. And then like, dude, it blew over in a week. But then like,
But people knew your name,
dude, right? And like I already had a little bit of clout from like my brother and whatever,
Yeah.
and then like all that. But yeah, like people were like, yo, this kid gets down and like is always down for a good time and like all that. And then the one that really fucked everything up was the first time I ever did Percocet, dude.
Yeah, so when is that?
That is, all right, so...
because again, just from to like kind of lead in the story of what I knew, have known, things like that. And I remember, you know, you shared the story with me when I was we were at the bar. I was like all over the place, and I remember you saying that it started that young, and I was like, wait,
this
like
is,
it's the craziest thing. You're that's so young.
Well,
But when exactly did it
that
start?
was essentially just, that was sophomore year.
High school.
And a bunch of kids, the older kids I was hanging out with, dude, would always be doing that. And I didn't know what it was, but all I knew is they were snorting things. And I was like, that's not good, dude. Like, we want to drink and smoke weed, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like, harmless, most of the time fun. Like, dude, we never got in cars. We never drove anywhere. Like, dude, we would just, like, smoke a couple doobies, have beers, get fucked up, and, like, hang out and yell in someone's basement. You know what I mean? Like, dude, that's what it was about. And then when they started doing all that shit, I was, like, honestly very upset with them. Like pretty pissed that like, dude, like these are some good dudes throwing their shit down the toilet, which like, bro, like what a reveation that would have been if I would have just listened to myself, right? But dude, and they would always like kind of make fun of me and be like, yo, you want one? You want one? Dude, the one day we were in a parking lot by our school, never forget him, in the backseat of a car. We're about to go on a little L ride with the boys, like, and dude, someone was like, they were doing their normal shit, like, oh yeah, you want one of these? And I was finally like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah. Like trying to like prove a point. And like be like, whatever. And then dude, like they like, whatever, broke it up in a little pill cap, dude, rolled me up $1 and I hit that shit, like snorted it. And bro, like 10 minutes later when that thing hit my system, I was like, this is fucking it. Like I remember vividly like laying back in the car and just being like, oh my God, like this is like, I don't want to glorify it, but I'm like, dude, this is what I'm supposed to feel like. Like this was made for me. Like this is a miracle. Like I feel so content and just like warm and just happy and like nothing matters.
And the funny thing about you saying about glorifying it, it's not even glorifying because it's, if everything was good, you would have felt like that all the time anyway. And that just, those things make you feel like that.
So, but like, I also vividly remember thinking like this is going to be a problem.
Oh, really? Yeah. That the first time?
I'm like sweating my hands. Like I can literally, I can like smell it, like taste it right now. Like, dude,
wow. The body doesn't forget.
No, dude, it's wild, man. And then just like, yeah, it was crazy, dude. But yeah, I remember just being like, yo, this is going to be a fucking issue, like big time.
Yeah, too good.
Dude, and then the next day, right away, right back. And then just from then on for like 6 years. And then it switched over into fentanyl, which like we can get into all that. But like dude, those were the first ones.
Yeah. So how does that, again, like, I mean, it's interesting to hear the story of, again, as we talked about, you know, with people judging with the outside eyes is like, oh, that kid does this and that. It's like, when you break down the journey of the story that you just told, it makes a lot more sense. And again, it's coming from a different place. So like how, because that's one of the things, like, again, when you're doing that stuff, you're looking for the next high. You're looking again and again and again. And how do I get something more powerful than that? So how did you get something more powerful? Where does that start?
I'll just I can rip the whole story for you real quick. Just like I've done this. This is the main part when like I would speak at AA. All right, like
we can take a break if you want to.
No, I told you I was going to preface this. So I am not an active member of any recovery community. I drink alcohol. I have a medical marijuana license, and every year to 6 months, I take a small dose of psychedelics to like reset my brain. So yeah, this is all coming from just someone that's been there, done it, and I have I think 6 years clean off opiates at this point.
Yeah.
So like,
dude, congrats. That's like it's so crazy,
dude. It's cool because bro, you go 10 blocks down the street from where we are, people are dying like bad. You know what I mean? So it's wild, and like that's where like I talk to people about it, and they're like, dude, it's incredible you made it out. But the whole story starts as this, right? So I just kind of gave you that lead up. I'm smoking and drinking every weekend. We start with the Percocets, which are a form of Oxycontin. For anyone that doesn't know, they are small.
I didn't even.
So. Yeah, so it's a Basically, like in the late 1990s, early 2000s, I think, Pfizer, who, you know, the COVID thing or whatever, I'm not going to get political on this, but like,
Episode 2.
dude, they came out with this miracle drug, and it started with coal miners in West Virginia, right? So like they were like getting, their bodies were breaking down, backs, everything like that. And dude, someone somewhere came up with this form, like a derivative of like morphine that they made into Oxycontin. I could be fucking up the story.
Is that
like,
the same thing as the Purdue?
Yeah, there you go. The Purdue family, like, dude, the whole thing, Pfizer,
yeah.
Purdue, they're all in it now. But yeah, Purdue might have started. I might have fucked up with Pfizer. I think it was Purdue because they just got in a big legal, like they just had to pay out. Yeah, dude, it's bad.
And they say they're paying the.
No,
can you ever pay?
Shit, dude. No,
can you ever pay the
dude,
price?
How do you pay
lives?
life, right? Like you can't. Dude, so they all started and they came up with this miracle drug, but they didn't realize how addictive it was. But like, dude, it's amazing. Like it doesn't numb everything in your body, but like it just attacks the like pain receptors in your brain so that like it's kind of like how coffee works. Coffee doesn't give you energy, it just blocks the receptors in your brain that say you're tired. Right? And this is essentially what
Didn't know that.
Yeah, right. This is fun fact.
Love coffee.
Yeah, right. This is essentially what Percocet did. It blocked the pain receptors in your brain. You have an opioid receptor in your brain that this would latch onto, and then dude, you couldn't feel shit. It was incredible, right? So I start sophomore year of high school, bang, we're doing them every day, but like, dude, it's just one, right? And it's not that like we're hanging out, we're all having fun, like it's not right and it isn't great, but like nothing's really hit the fan yet. The next year we started into them heavy, dude. Now we're ripping 2 a day, like 60 milligrams a day. And now I need them. This is my junior year when I started driving. I need them to go to school. I need them to play sports. Like I need them to do whatever. So like, dude, all those games we played together, I was on 60 milligrams standard. Like just, so I counted to like why like, dude, like, I don't know, like I would just do crazy shit out there that was like unbelievable. Yeah. And people would be like, how do you, does not hurt you? And I'm like, I can't feel my face, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like no one knew that, but I'm like, dude, I'm not going to feel shit for the next 2 days. And I know after the game, I'm taking another one so I don't feel sore from before. And that's how it gets going, dude, right? So then you need them. And now, then it switches from like, I need them to do sports or do anything active to like, dude, I need them to like be me. Like be like funny and whatever. And like my personality and how people think I am and like whatever. And then, dude, it gets really bad. Senior year of high school, I'm doing like 3 a day. I'm hanging out with kids I should not be hanging out with. And like, bro, but like, I always just did them by myself. Like, which is other fucked up thing. Like, right? Like, it wasn't like I was going out and like having fun with other people, dude. I would literally leave school, go get Percocets, take them, go to practice, do whatever I needed to do, and then grab more, go home and sit in my basement by myself and just do drugs. And like that's where the dark days
What did
started.
you do? Like, what did you do when you're doing that?
Dude, I would like play video games and just like nod out or like just like talk to myself and like try to tell myself I'm not a piece of shit, like I'm not an addict, and like convince myself I'm not. Like you know what I mean? Like shit like that. So then after high school, I'm like, all right, like let me get, like I just need to get away because like someone I knew very closely did the same sort of thing. They went down south for school and it saved them. Like they didn't have access and like whatever. My dumbass decides to go to West Virginia University, literally the heart of the pill epidemic.
Yeah.
Like it's so bad.
And I was going to make that joke earlier, but I didn't. But I was like, you're like, well, I was going to figure it out and go to West Virginia.
Yeah, right. Like, and like, then again, like the not living up to expectations thing, we can come back to that. Like, dude, like I was really good at lacrosse.
Yeah.
Like, I should have went
Nasty.
and played
Nasty.
somewhere. And like, that's my
Anywhere.
number one regret in life is that I don't think I would have stuck with it. Like, I just don't think I was in the right place. But like, I'm pissed I didn't give myself a chance.
Yeah.
So I
and
think,
the fact that you were that good
Dude,
with all this going
bro,
on.
I had everyone, all the recruits in the work. Like, bro, it was me and Greg. Like,
Yeah.
that was it
Yeah.
in PA. Like, for D guys. Like, and we went to everything and like, dude, like, I don't know. I was too fucked up to see what I had going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, it was the drugs and shit. Like, we'd go on some recruiting trip, and I'd be like, dude, I don't give a fuck about this guy. Like, tell me that he's going to give me a full ride to come play at his school, and I'm worried about, like, can I get $30 and go back home? Dude. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
crazy the way the brain loop.
bro, it's nuts. It's literally a psychosis. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
out of control.
You're out of the human experience.
Long story short, I go up to West Virginia. I withdraw hard, bro. Like the shits, the sweat, everything. Can't sleep. Like that's the worst part about it when you come off drugs. You're not gonna be able to sleep, and it's bad. Like it's really bad, dude. Like, and you start not sleeping, bro. It's over. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sleep's so important. So I get up there. I'm just drinking, smoking weed, doing my normal jaunt. Finally, like get to a place where I'm okay. I come back home for President's Day weekend or whatever in September. dude, get a text like, hey, saw your car. Like, what's good? And like, oh, bro. And like, dude, but then like,
So how long were you clean at that point? Or like, were you
2 weeks, 3 weeks?
So, but is the withdrawal
I wasn't even
over?
clean, bro.
Is the withdrawal over?
Mine were only like a week real bad. Cause like,
Okay.
I don't know, dude. Like, I would just get like the shits and not be able to sleep for a week, which is like terrible. But like, some people have it way worse, right? So, yeah, that dude hits me up, and then that's when those started. But like, just going up there for school, barely passing, and then coming back, and then by sophomore year, when I moved out of the dorm, kept me somewhat structured because like I said, I didn't like doing that shit around other people. So like when I was in my dorm with a dorm mate, and like we had like the things where you shared a bathroom, so there's essentially 4 people in there.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I would just like sneak it real quick in my car or like whatever, you know? And then as soon as I got my own place, like we got a 3-bedroom apartment that was sick right in the middle of town. Like, and I had my own room. That's when it really got vicious again. Like, cause I could hide, right? Like dorm room, you can't really hide. Like someone walks in and I'm doing a line, like that's not like, they're going to get pissed, like, or like whatever. So yeah, I do that. And that's when like the drives and back and forth started, whatever. I'm not going to class because I'm just like banged up the whole time and like whatever. If I'm not on the perks, I'm drinking. If I'm not drinking, I'm smoking weed. Like, and I'm just not doing anything I'm supposed to be doing. I literally from Monday to Friday just sit in an apartment and just like don't talk to really anybody. Like dude, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was like the darkest days of my life. Like just.
And you're isolated too.
Dude, yes, alone, which is like the number one thing you don't want in these situations is to be alone, right? So I'm alone and like, dude, I never thought, like I've never had like suicidal tendencies or thoughts or anything like that. But like if there was at a point in my life where I was like, bro, like nobody would care or like I wouldn't even care, which isn't true. Like,
yeah.
I know now, but like, dude, then I was like, dude, I just like am like alone. Like, and like, I was dating Odd the whole time, but like, dude, she was at Widener, like living her best life, and like, I don't want to like impede on this girl's life and all this shit, like whatever. I finally come back, start coaching, whatever. I'm still doing the 30s all the time. I end up having a mix-up with a dealer where he thought I wanted heroin and I wanted Percocet. I drive up there, I get there, and dude, I'm such an addict and like junkie at this point that like he was like, oh, bro, I don't like so like. Percocets were like $1 a milligram, so a 30, which is what we would take, was $30. Well, you take a 30 every day, and it was $30. I would take 3, so that's $90, dude. Like just wild.
What?
So then, dude, then you start like selling them, and then like
it's just to make
break
it
even, like that whole deal, which we don't have to get into. But like, I was the worst drug dealer on the planet. I was never on time. I was using all my own supply. Like, dude, it was just so like I essentially just would buy like 20 of them, just use them. Like, wouldn't sell any of them. Like, yeah, dude, that's one of the things. Like, it's funny, but like, it's not funny. You know
but it's like, and it's the truth. It's just, it's like
crazy
because you do whatever you have to do.
Dude, like you're just literally out of your mind.
And that can be said for again to relate this to everything. Yeah, we're talking about drugs. We're talking about like the addiction journey, but there's certain things where you will do anything to make it. Even say you're in a bad relationship,
dude,
you will do anything to get to the next day,
bro. Yeah.
And like this, you know,
100%. Like, how do I just wake up okay?
Yeah,
like,
right? So you get heroin on accident,
dude. Yeah, so I get heroin, which I thought was heroin. It's fentanyl, which like, dude, at that rate, like, dude, fentanyl is like $3 for a bag, dude. With my $90, I had enough to like. I was like, this is fucking sick. Like, but in my head again, dude, when he gave it to me. And like in the bundles or whatever, like in like wax paper little baggies, right? But like they come in like a rubber banded bundle of like 10 to 12 of them as like a bundle of heroin or dope, which is like what most people buy. When he gave it to me, I was like, dude, like we're at another level. Like in my head, like weed, booze, and perks were okay, but like coke, no. Like all that other shit, so bad. Like anything with a needle, terrible. Like that's some deep shit. And then, dude, but same thing, bro. Like I took it home. I opened one of those baggies. I sniffed that shit and I felt amazing. Like, dude, but like a perk, but like hit like 50 times harder. And I was like, oh my God, like this is it. And now I have so many, dude. Well then, dude, but it only lasts a short time. So now like, bro, I'm ripping like a bundle a day. And like, dude, you can't function on that shit. Like it's horrible, bro. And like, I knew it was so wrong and bad. Dude, kept doing it, would not stop. I'm coaching, I'm working at Wawa, I'm taking classes at Delco, and I just feel like dog shit at that point. Because remember, I'm supposed to be great, dude.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be D1, fucking white Jesus, like the savior, you know what I mean? Like, dude, like dad's like a Fortune 500 like, dude, I'm supposed to be all this. And like to those people, dude, like I live 2 separate lives. It was horrible.
You're
dude.
hiding.
Like, bro, on this paper, like I'm a coach, I'm all this. And like, that's what I would do. I'd be like, I'm not like someone would, like my mom or like whoever would be like, yo, there's something wrong with you, whatever. And I'd be like, no, like, look at this. Like, look at this resume. Like, look at all, like, I'm winning all these games. I'm doing this. Everyone loves me.
I call it the mask.
Dude,
it's like,
yeah,
it's like,
100%.
yo, like, and when you get to that level,
Yeah.
you're really good at putting it on.
Yo,
you're really good at putting it on.
mass. I'm like CIA level
Yeah,
mass.
yeah, yeah. You're like, yo,
Bro,
no, but are you kidding me? Look at this.
Yeah, right. So that starts going down. And then, dude, this is when like shit just hit the rails. June 16th, 2018, I go to cop at 10 in the morning. So drug addicts will get in a routine. Like you go here, you stop at this place, you take whatever, then you get to here, you stop, you take whatever. I went up to one of the towns around here, grab my shit like I would every morning. I stop at the other place. I grab whatever. I take 2 bags, snort 2 bags. I start driving home, dude. I wake up to just like the OnStar in my car being like, Mr. Seifert, you've been in an accident. We're sending help. And I'm trying to go like I was trying to say no, I'm good. Cause I don't want the police to come, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, ugh, but like you can't talk. It's just like the wind's knocked out of me, dude. Turns out I overdosed at the wheel. Went 45 miles an hour past a turn, probably should have killed somebody. Like from this lane, went shooting across and hit a telephone pole. If the telephone pole wasn't there, dude, I would have rolled over a cliff and probably be dead. Right? Would have rolled, like went up on these like rock jumps. Dude, 45 miles an hour, driver's side into a telephone pole. The impact in the airbag of me hitting is what jump started my heart. I would have been dead, bro. Dead. Like gone. Like I was dead at the wheel. Like just dunzo. Like OD'd in my car and just smash into that. I'm trying to say no. Dude, I had 2 bundles in the glove box, and then my car had this like little slit thing where you used to be able to like put a business card as you were like driving to do like a sales car. You could read it, dude, and that's where I had dope. And like, dude, it went off. So there's like fucking like dope and like fentanyl like floating through the car along with like the airbag powder. Dude, all the airbags went off. Like I can't get out this door. Bro, it was crazy. So then some guy, like I just like remember some dude stopping and like, dude, I'm like not even with it. Like one, I just fucking died essentially.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then crashed my car. Like I'm like just like waved to some guy and he like got my passenger door open and I got out. And like, dude, the police are there. There's like 3 ambulances. They shut down the road. Like, dude, it was so bad. It was coming out of Phoenixville, going back towards Downingtown. Dude, like you definitely know the road. I don't remember what it is, but it's that little like S before you get to like White Horse Road.
Okay.
It's right there. And dude, like I don't really remember a lot of this, but like the report is like he was acting extremely frantically and like all this shit. And like I get on the, like I'm like, I finally like come to and I'm in the ambulance and they're kind of checking me out. They're like, I think you're okay. Like you're good. And I'm like, all right, fuck. Like they're like, we're going to take you in though to get you tested for a concussion or whatever. And I was like doing this and I was like, my phone. Like my parents were in California at the time. I was like, dude, I need my phone. I got to call my sister like and tell her I've been in an accident. They're like, do not leave the ambulance. I jump out of the ambulance. I go over to my car and the door is mangled, dude. So I just like start ripping the door, dude. I cut my hand from like here to here. I'm bleeding everywhere now. I get my phone, I get my wallet out of the car. And I'm like, okay. Then in my head, I'm like, dude, how am I going to twist this story to like have them not realize that I just was on a shit ton of drugs and crashed this car, right? And I'm like, all right, like I remember back in the day, my mom always told me if you slip off the side of the road, you kind of got to ride it for a second. If you just gun it and try and turn back, you'll go shooting across the shit. Like, you know, when you like dip off the road a little bit.
Yeah.
So dude, I'm like, perfect, got it. Story.
Oh my God.
Master manipulator, fucking lying piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like,
it's amazing. Like the one part about drug addicts and addicts of any kind, they're smart.
Dude, geniuses.
Like that's geniuses. Like that's the thing that I think people miss. And that's something that's why I care so much about being able to try to help people to do anything to get out of it, because the potential is sky high. Because then you think about it in business. Right. Oh, again, the way that you just thought is like the same thing in business. Yeah. It's not like that's what I wrote a blog about it, about like addicts. Like it's really close. Like you said that it's a razor thin line where it's like, all right, well, like, you know, I need to go, you know, make a sale, make a deal. Okay, I can do this. I'll say that to this person, this to that, and you can nail it. Mm-hmm. And that, I mean, that story immediately, you're like, yo, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
I can send this to you too. I wrote a short story called Misunderstood about this whole situation.
No way.
Like an autobiographical, like 9-page story about exactly what we're talking about. And like, that was one of my main points is like, these people are just so misunderstood. If you can get them in a proper situation where they're going in the right direction, like they will do incredible things.
Yeah.
Like, dude, think about what they would do to get a fix. dude, you put that into like a business model or like something healthy, it's a wrap. Dude.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
conquer the world. Like,
Yeah.
Also, like me and my dad always talk about this. It's like, bro, the most mentally tough people have to have had something terrible happen to them.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't get that way without like some sort of resilience.
I hate to say it, but that's why I'm so locked in on this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I know what I'm going to do.
Dude, 100%.
I know exactly what I'm
Yeah.
going to do because you're saying I've gone through those mental battles
Bro.
of getting through life, just getting through it. You can do anything after that.
So yeah, so I whatever, I get the thing, I tell Anna that story, she relays it to my mom, I get to the hospital, bing, bang, boom, they let me go. Sheriff comes in, takes the blood, the whole deal. He's like, have you been using? And that was the first time I ever got honest with anyone, was with that sheriff. I don't know his name. I know I can see his face, but I'm sitting in Paoli Hospital. He says, hey, do you want your sister to leave the room for this? And I said, yes. And he's like, look, like, there's a bunch of shit in the car. Like, there's whatever. Like, how long have you been using? And I'm like, dude, like, I need help. Like, I'm in trouble, bro. Like, and he's like, all right, just tell me what you did. And I was like, I've been doing dope for 6 years, bro. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he takes my blood. He's like, all right, man, you're probably gonna get a bunch of paperwork. Like, dude, just like, he essentially said, like, this is a good first step. Like, dude, like you can do this, kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was
Yeah.
like, you got this. I think at the time I was like 20 maybe. And this is part of the story that's kind of fucked up. He takes my blood, whatever, we leave. I go home. I didn't realize how bad of a car accident it was. Anna, my sister, went to go look at the car, and like it was totaled, bro. And like she had to get the stuff out of it. Well, I went home, and Audrey met me there, and a lot of our friends showed up at the house. They don't know what happened. They just knew that I was in a bad car accident,
Yeah.
and they like wanted to make sure I was okay. So I was like, oh, like all right, like. But then in my head, I'm like, that wasn't that bad. Like, I'm like, we're good.
Did you even
dude.
feel anything at that point?
No, I felt fine. My hand had a couple stitches, but I'm like, bro, we are golden.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like, what are you guys talking about? Car's a car. Like, and then that's kind of like what I convinced my parents as well. They're like, at one point they were like, we're just so happy you're okay. Like,
Yeah.
don't even worry about it.
Because
Like,
at this point, your parents don't know.
dude, they think I just skirted off the side of the road,
Yeah.
like made a mistake driving and like hit a pole. Like, you know, I was like, yeah, I was speeding, but like whatever. And they're like, dude, we are just so happy you're all right. Like, that was really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like, yada, yada. And I'm like, all right. Dude, I go up after they kind of all leave within like an hour once they know I'm good. Odd's still there, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go upstairs and get a shower and lay down. Like, that was a hell of a little afternoon/morning. Like,
Quick time out.
Yeah,
I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm like, I just need a second. Like, dude, I go upstairs. I finally put my wallet down on the counter, open it up. There's a bundle in the wallet, and I was like, we are set. Like, my parents are honestly like, they're like worried about me now, which is a great place to be as a manipulative person, right? Like,
Yeah.
dude, I whip open 2 bags, rail them, get in the bath, go to lay down. Thank God for Audrey and Anna. They knew that if you have concussion-like symptoms, you should not let that person sleep for a long time. Because I don't know if you know this, but when you get a concussion, dude, like, if you sleep right away, I think you can like slip into a coma.
Yeah,
or
they
something.
say
it's
that,
not good
yeah.
for your brain. Like, so dude, they come up to check on me. I'm purple, bro. ODing again, same day, within hours, right? I'm in the bed. I'm purple. They call 911. The police show up. Like, Odd always says, like, I fuck up this part of the story, but, like, this is, like, my understanding of what happened. I obviously wasn't, like, with it at the time. They say that the police come in, and thank God for this cop. I don't know who he was, but he got there first, and he saw me, and then along the lines of someone said, like, does he have, like, an issue with drugs or something? And, like, Anna was just like, yes. Like, I don't know how she knew, dude. Like, she was in, like, high school at the time, I think. Like, dude, I think she just, like, must have put 2 and 2 together. Like, I would always tell Odd what I was doing, not like the fentanyl and dope, but like at party, I'd be like, yo, like, I'm doing perks or Xanax or whatever, like, just so you know if anything goes down, like, you can tell these people what's up and they can help me. She didn't know at this point. Like, they thought I was just like, whatever. Like,
Yeah, and you're how old at this point?
20.
Yeah,
maybe?
so like she's 20
Dude,
or
yeah,
20
like,
or
nobody-
close,
I might
like
be 19, dude. Like,
yeah,
or maybe 21. I can't really remember. Somewhere in there, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, so Anna goes, yes. The dude whips out Narcan, which, like, dude, whoever invented Narcan, everyone should get certified to use Narcan.
Yeah.
Like, you could save. I carry it in my car, bro. I have it in my lacrosse bat. Like, carry it everywhere I go, just in case, dude. I only ever had to do it to one person, but like, it saved my life, dude. So the way Narcan or naloxone works is that opioid receptor on your brain I was talking about. It'll rip the drugs off it, so it's no longer there. So like, you can come back. And when you overdose on opioids, it shuts down your respiratory system. So you essentially drowned. is what happens. Because when your lungs work, the blood goes into your lungs and it pumps up the air sac, and then it releases, and that's how you breathe. That's the blood going into your air sacs and then making them work. When you're overdosing, your respiratory system's not working, so your lungs are filling up with blood, and it is horrible, dude. Terrible way to go out, right? He Narcans me, doesn't work. EMTs show up, hit me 2 more times, doesn't work. That shit legally, like, or like whatever, like when I learned later in the hospital and in treatment, they should really only Narcan you 3 times before they call it. Like,
So you're like dead, essentially.
gone,
You're dead.
bro. Done, dead, yeah, nothing, right? So,
And you're in your house, dude. I had no idea. I know.
in my
Again,
bed,
I knew parts of this
Yeah.
story, and I didn't realize it was the
so dude,
same
I'm
day.
in my bed, yeah, same day. Yeah, they, for some reason, I don't know why, somebody there said, dude, let's hit this kid one more time. And dude, they hit me, and then that's just when I start to come to, and they're like, he's coming back, and dude, just immediately onto a stretcher, getting carried down the front of
And your friends
my
are there?
family steps. No, they had all left at this
Okay.
point. Just my sister, Audrey, and me. Dude, I'm getting carried down the front on my steps, like, and like, I'm just like coming to, and like I thought it was a dream at first. I was like, yo, this is a gnarly fucking dream right here. But then I'm like, oh my God. And then like, dude, I knew what happened.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not dumb. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I get in the ambulance and some EMT is like, buddy, like he's literally says like, kid, you got to stop doing this shit. Like you're going to fucking die. And I was like, fuck. And he's like, you were 2 minutes away, 2 minutes, 120 seconds. That was it for you. And I was like, oh my God, bro. Like, holy shit. Like, so thank God. I don't know who that person is. If for some reason they're ever listening, like, dude, thank you so much. Like,
Yeah.
I literally owe you my life. They hand me a bag, and I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? And he's like, just wait, man, you're going to get pretty sick here. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, like, dude, blood. Just all the blood that was in there. Just fucking, I'm vomiting it everywhere. Like, it's so bad, dude. Get to the hospital. I still had so much in my system that they had to put me on like a naloxone drip. So like the Narcan thing, they put it in my IV, dude. And I'm just so tired. I want to go to bed. And they're like, don't go to bed. Like, dude, like hit me and
Yeah,
shit.
you can't.
Like nothing. And that's when this nurse, Greg, came up. And at this point, this is after like an hour or two, like I was stable where like I was just like in the ICU and like they were just kind of watching. Audrey and Anna were there now, my sister and wife. And this nurse Greg comes up. Male nurse Greg works in the ICU. He says, buddy, I've been where you are. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, oh my God, like what? Like, and he's like, dude, I was in your exact same spot. You're going to get help. You're going to be okay. You're going to go to this place. He starts talking to Aud, dude, they set up this whole shit for me. It's called the Retreat in Lancaster. It's a treatment program. And I was like, dude, like I've tried to find Greg.
Yeah.
Never been able to find him. Like, I don't, dude, still this day, whenever like I'm around that area, the hospital, I just like keep my eyes out for this cat. Cause like, dude, he was the first guy that understood.
Yeah.
Or like got it. Or
That's the other thing, just to understand that there's other people who've gone through it.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, a lot of this stuff, you feel so alone.
Yeah.
You feel so alone. I'm the only person in the world. And then once you realize that there's other people who've gone through it, that have battled back,
Yeah.
and then hearing the story. And that's the exact thing. All I want is for one person to listen to this and be like, damn, bro, that kid went through this. You can make it out. Like you can sit and talk about it and be comfortable and do everything. Like it's why. You just need to realize that there's one person, and then like floodgates.
Dude, yeah, it was incredible meeting him. Like I think about that a lot to this day. Like even if I'm having like a tough time or whatever, I'm like, dude, like that cat would, like if he was here right now, like Greg or whatever, he would be like, yo, you got it. Like go.
Yeah.
Like, keep going. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, dude, like that's my guy.
Yeah, we gotta find him.
Dude, yeah, I don't know. I hope what I think happened is he might have like relapsed and died maybe, but like I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope he's out living his best life. But
Yeah.
then so that all goes down, and like at that point it was kind of a relief because like now I don't have to explain anything to anybody, like my family or anything. Like they can know what happened. And I leave the hospital after 3 days. I was on a high flow oxygen. Like my lungs are still a little fucked up from that. Like, so I was on a high flow oxygen for a couple days. I just wanted to make sure like my lungs wouldn't collapse and whatever, which they didn't. And, dude, I go to this treatment program, and dude, I played volleyball and basketball for 2 weeks. Like it was a fucking money pit, which like a lot of these places are. And like, we can get into that, but like a lot of these treatment programs are like in the business of dealing bodies, dude. Like they're like, yo, you're gonna come here, pay this, then you're gonna go to our recovery house and pay this, then you're gonna go to our thing and do this and whatever. And you're like,
The sad part about it is, and no matter what, and that's something I struggle with, and I don't know if you saw in one of my emails, I was like, is monetizing mental health a bad and dirty thing
Yeah.
to do. And
100%.
it felt like that. But if again, you got to find the right way to do it. If you're just trying to like suck the blood from people, and that's, you know,
Well,
it's
like,
like,
you have to.
but if you can, and I spoke with my therapist about this, and she was like, I want you to ask me that question.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. I was in tears, and I was
Yeah.
like, I can't. Like, what do you like? She's helped me so much, and it's probably $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year.
Dude, it's worth every penny, but like.
Exactly. And I'm like, you've provided hundreds of thousands. You gave me life because I'd be dead if it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
for her. And it's the same thing. So it's like when you look at it like that, but then there are the places that are just doing it for that. And then there's the places, again, that's why AA I think is a very interesting,
Oh my God,
beautiful
yeah.
organization. It's like, it's $1. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
right?
Like it's not even $1. It's,
Yeah,
it's
you can just show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't have anything, like you're good.
And-
but yeah, but unfortunately with that, like there's no other, like those people have to get paid. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't,
How are you going to do it? You
right? Like
yeah.
that's in a perfect world, of course it'd be free, but
Yeah.
like that's a shame. But anyway, so then I leave there, and dude, like I just such like was a manipulator and a liar that like, dude, I convinced my family that like I just wasn't gonna do opiates anymore. Like I could drink and like smoke weed, which like at that point in time I could not.
Yeah.
And dude, I leave rehab to go down to the beach. I'm drinking that night. And just like, dude, within a week, I'm back on the pills. Like, I was like, oh, I just can't do fentanyl. Like, if I do Percocets, I'll be fine. Bam, do the Percocets. All the paperwork comes in for the DUI. I get into this program called Drug Court out of Chester County, which is amazing. Shout out Judge Wheatcraft and Andrew that work there. They are and their whole treatment team, some of the best human beings you've ever met in your life. Like, just unbelievable people that just care so much, dude. They just care. Like, you're not going to get that in life a lot where people, especially a judge that is like, look, like I care about you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are going to die and that's not going to happen on my watch. I get into this program, dude, the first day I'm supposed to get in, I fucking test hot. And immediately, dude, before I can even, like I thought, it was described to me by someone else in one of the programs, which like, here's another thing you'll hear about drug court and all this stuff. Someone on the street or whoever you talk to will be like, yo, that's a scam or whatever. You know who those people are? Those are people that couldn't fucking do it. All right. They didn't make it. They weren't strong enough. Like whatever. Like, which there's a place for those people too, but they just need a little more time.
Yeah. And there's
right?
also like, again, like the people, I guess my thoughts on that is it sucks because there's the people like Greg that you mentioned. There's the people like Coach that got you know, again, into a certain thing. You just need a couple dominoes to fall. And for me, mine was, I read Kevin Love's article. I canceled my first 4 therapy appointments. I read Kevin Love's article about his anxiety. And I was like, well, if he can do it, then I can. So like they just needed one more domino, and maybe they didn't get enough, and it sucks, and it's just like, it's a shame.
So
but,
dude. So I show up, and someone had told me, and like my lawyer had told me too, like, oh, like, dude, if you like test positive, which they were thinking of alcohol or weed, like she'll just give you a new clean date, and you have to be clean on that date when you come into the program. Well, since mine was opioids, dude. I'm come up in front of everybody. It's like 100 people in the courtroom. And she's like, Mr. Seifert, you are a danger to yourself and to others, and I am not going to have that happen. Please place hands behind your back. You're going to go to jail for a little bit of time. We're going to find you a bed in a treatment center. And I was like, what the shit? And she's like, do you understand what's happening? I was like, no. Like, fuck no, I don't understand what's happening, dude. So, I go to jail for a little bit, and which, like, living in a bathroom with another man is not cool. That's essentially what you're doing in jail. It's awful. Like, it wasn't state prison, so, like, nothing crazy was going on. But, like, dude, you're just locked in a cell. Like, it's horrible, dude. It's a horrible place to be. Like, literally, like, you're wearing some other dude's underwear that got, like, recycled, like, 9 different... It's horrible, right? So they send me... The lady comes in to do an analysis of me. And at this point, like, I really had slowed down. Like, high school was probably my worst drug use in, like, the beginning part of college or whatever. But, like, at this rate, like... I was doing like 1 or 2 every now and again, like whatever, like shouldn't have been doing them at all. This lady comes in, I forget her name, but she was really cool too. The lady that like does your evals and then like places you in treatment. She comes in and is like, hey, like, listen, like you've been in treatment before. And I was like, yeah, but like that didn't do anything for me. Like whatever. Yeah. And she's like, all right, I'm going to send you to a 30-day facility. Which like, I'm like, oh my God, 30 days. Like that's so long. But I'm like, you know what? I need it. Like, dude, like, and then also I'm like, anything to get out of here. Right. Like,
yeah.
I get sent to Colonial House in York, Pennsylvania, which is supposed to be like a building like this, like real nice and whatever. Well, that building burnt down. We have a house with 16 men in it, a literal small, tiny house. Like, dude, it was 5 bedrooms with like bunk beds in it, and grown-ass men are all staying in this little-ass house, dude. 16 guys. and it was 90 days. I was supposed to go there for 30 and get reevaluated, but like, dude, like, natural, like 30 days isn't gonna do shit for you. Anyone listening to this, if you're in a 30-day rehab or went to one, I hope it works out for you. You need 90 days of treatment. That's the brain science.
Yeah.
That's how many days it takes for your brain to like chemically reset itself.
Get back to normal.
90 days. Yep. So, dude, I go there for 90 days. I came out. I decided or convinced my therapist. I'm a very convincing individual. I don't know.
Yeah.
If that comes from
You have to
my
be.
pops and the sales thing. Like,
That too.
sell water to a drowning man over here. But, dude, so I convinced my therapist to let me come home instead of going to a halfway house or a recovery house, which is like usually you'll go to in-treatment drug care and then to a halfway house, which is like very, very structured. You still have to do meetings. From there, you graduate to a recovery house, which like you're more living on your own, but you're still like having meetings and have to go to meetings and do a 90 and all this shit. I convinced her to let me go home. Dude, same shit. I come home, within 2 weeks, I'm doing the same shit. Get locked, like fuck up drug court 2 more times. And then on the third one, the way drug court works is they give you 3 chances. First one, you have to do a shitload of community service if you mess up. Second one's 3 days in jail. Third one's 5 days in jail. And then if you mess up off that third one, the way it works is you essentially signed all your rights over when you enter drug court that you're going to do the maximum for your sentence, which for me, with all the heroin or dope I had, was a 3 to 5 upstate, 3 to 5 years. Right, would be the max sentence. So if I fuck up this drug court thing one time, I'm going to state prison for 3 to 5 years, which probably means like somewhere around 4.5, right?
Yeah.
That's not good. I mean, I wouldn't do too good in state prison.
It's tough.
Yeah, right? That's a tough look. So I mess up the 2 more times. I do the little jail stints or whatever. And finally, after my third mess up, she's like, Tommy, I'm going to give you one more shot. Like really, like, I'm not going to send you back to jail. That does nothing for you. Like, you just do whatever and just hang out.
It's almost like I wonder. This is what I always wonder about jail, because I know a couple different people that have gone through that experience. I wonder what you're thinking in there the whole time. If you're in there for a while, if you're like, yo, can't wait to get out. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Dude, a bunch of kids were like that, bro.
Because you don't have the, again, like I assume you don't have the support and the system and everything that you need to actually cure the problem.
Yeah. The system is essentially just failing everyone, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
She doesn't send me in jail. She sends me back to Colonial House. And I have a new therapist. My first therapist was Courtney, and she was fantastic. She did the best she could. Like, she's a killer. She's totally good, but like, just didn't I was able to kind of like sway her in ways, which now I showed up again. Which, like, dude, that was huge for me, too, because, like, bro, anyone that goes to AA, NA, coming out of treatment, like, you kind of think you have it figured out. Like, you think your shit doesn't stink and, like, you got this by the balls and whatever. And, like, some people do, and, like, shout out those people, but 90% of the people don't. Like, they just don't. Like, they're just trying to get through the day like the next guy, right? So that immediately humbled myself because, like, I was my first time in Colonial House, I was, like, the senior peer leader. Like, I was the guy everyone went to. I was the smartest cat in there.
That reminds me of the same thing you said about, like, well, I'm coaching. How could I be?
Right?
What are you talking about?
Exactly,
I'm
bro.
the leader.
Dude, I had everyone. When I left, like, people were, like, crying in the rehab. They were like, this kid, like, he's going to go out and do such great things. Like,
you are.
Dude, right? And I am now.
Yeah, you are.
Like, bro, like, then, like, and I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I got this shit. Like, I got this shit. You ever hear someone in drug and alcohol treatment saying they got it? Get the fuck away from them. They don't got it, dude. They don't got it. I'm telling you, right?
It's a battle. That's the whole thing. I guess what I'm learning from all of this, and like so much more. Like, it is so much. It is like it's not a short read. It's a textbook, and that's why AA and NA and all that stuff. Like, it's a lifelong battle. Like, you gotta still, like, you're still doing it. And even though, as you mentioned, you're taking a different approach to do it, because it is, and there's different ways to do it.
Yeah.
And again, also the natural ways. You know,
bro, there's a lot to be said.
Yeah.
But so I'll wrap this up because that's the most important part of my whole message. Like, I don't know. People like to listen to my stories sometimes. I think they do, or like people.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
When I was involved in that life, I would speak a lot at like treatment centers and everything. I think it was because I was young mainly, and like I made it out, which a lot of the people in there are usually younger. For like opioids, alcoholism's a little bit older crowd, but like whatever, it's all the same stuff. Like, I use drugs in an alcoholic manner. It's the same shit, right? Like, meaning that, like, I would use them alcoholically, like I need them, not like oh, it's a different thing. Like, no, it's all the same
Yeah,
shit. Right?
it's just it's a pattern.
Yes,
it's a habit.
exactly. So, dude, I go there the second time and I really got humbled, man. I stopped trying to lead the meetings. I stopped trying, and I fucking listened, dude. I put the cotton, took that shit out of my ears and I put it in my fucking mouth, dude. You know what I mean? AKA, I shut the fuck up and listened to somebody else. Because I didn't do that the first time. I thought I had it figured out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm smart as shit guy. I have a 4.0 at school, right? Like, I'm not dumb. Like, and I really listened and I really like dived into the community of people. Like the group is the best vehicle. Like I was saying earlier, I dove into the guys there and like they would have people bring in meetings and we would go to these outside meetings. And I really, before I wouldn't talk to anyone, but now like I tried to get involved. And that is the huge part of like AA and NA and any recovery is you need to like get outside of yourself and like really try to like talk to the people around you. Kind of like what you did at the meeting. Like you went for pizza with the guys after, right? Like that's what it's fucking about. That's recovery. The shit in that book is money, but like it doesn't mean anything unless you put it in practice.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's about AA. Like that's the part I'm fascinated about. As I mentioned about the 12-step program, like the 12 steps to like help to go back and to do that. And that's literally why we're here. Like
yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like that's it has you have to. Because it's interesting, and this is why the addicts in general fascinate me, because it's the same cycle for everybody. You start out, and it's all about you.
Yep.
And this started out, and it was all about me.
It's a selfish disease, dude.
It was all about me. And now that I realize, like, wait a second, I'm not going to fucking cure anything if I keep making this about me.
Yeah.
So, like, to just learn from other people, other stories, like the strength that people have. I mean, it's.
Dude, we always said, if you take me, which is all, like we said before, you don't have a drug and alcohol problem, you have a you problem, right? So you take me, and then we used to always have this guy, his name was Freddie. He was a professional kickboxer that got clean. Dude, he did this thing called positive punches. He would like bring in mitts and just be like, he'd like have the mitts up, right? And you'd be hitting him, he'd be like, crack is whack. And you'd be like, crack is whack. And then like throw a hook. Like, dude, it sounds ridiculous, but it was so therapeutic for us. Cause like, dude, it got us moving. Like you could just get your anger out and like, he'd be like, you were doing dope under a bridge. I'd be like, I wasn't really, but fuck it. Like, bang. Like,
and like you're mentally attaching yourself to that.
And you're physically beating this shit, right?
Getting it out of you.
But
because
he would have this thing, dude. He would take me, M-E, and he would flip the M upside down, which equals what letter?
W.
And that is?
A win?
We.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking both.
Dude, right? Like, I got you. No, you're good. So he would say, this is a we thing, boys. Like, you were doing a me thing. This needs to be a we thing. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. And like, that's when the group is the greatest vehicle and like all that shit. The dope fiend limousine, we used to call it. Like, yeah, dude, like get in the fucking dope fiend limousine. We're going to get this shit right. Like, that's what we always called it all the time. And like, I ended up walking out of that treatment facility. Shout out my therapist, Jody Schmidt. I can say her name. If anyone ever needs help, York, Pennsylvania, find Jody Schmidt. She'll save your fucking life. I leave her a message every 2 weeks about my life progress. She answered me for the first couple weeks, but now she really doesn't. And like, I get it, dude. She has a treatment load and like all these cases, but like, dude, I know it means a lot to her that someone makes it. Cause she said that to me before on like one of my first calls, or like when I went after a year clean, you can go up there and speak. And I went and she was just like, dude, like it just means a lot to see someone make it. Cause all right, I was there, like I said, 16 people there both times. That's what, 6 and 6 is 12. That's 32 guys. I can name 5 dudes that are still alive, including myself. So 4 other people from those 32 that didn't die from related issues. Yeah, it's wild, dude. Like, it's crazy. Shit is very, very real. I have the obituaries at my house, every single one of them. Like,
I don't even.
Yeah, it's very real. So I walk out of there very humbled. I decided to go to a recovery house this time. Out in Coatesville. I go to this recovery house, and a very, very wise man was leading the recovery house. He owned it. He started it. He had a house across the way that was like the next level up. He had a roofing company that he would give all the guys jobs if they couldn't find a job. It was $250 a week, which is relatively cheap, especially for people that really, most guys walk out of rehab with nothing. Like, lucky for me, I had a lot of support. I go there, and he does this thing called the Big Book Step Study method of AA. And it is a deep dive into the literature and functions of it. He required you to do a 90 and 90, which is you for your first 90 days out of treatment. You go to a meeting every single day for 90 days. I think that is vastly important. Mm-hmm. I think after that, you can kind of settle on the meetings a little bit. But for your first 90 days out of treatment, you need to be at a meeting every 90 days, and you need to walk in every single day of those 90 days and put your hand up and say, hi, my name's Tom. I'm an alcoholic. I just got out of treatment. I need help. That's what you do. And dude, if you can do that, you're going to make it, bro. Because doing that takes a lot of balls, dude.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of balls. But we dive in. We get, the first Sunday you're there, he takes you through your first 3 steps and you get a sponsor. So like you do this like 4-hour session of like your first 3 steps. Like like I said, I'm not an active member anymore, but you know, it's admit you have a problem, give it to God. And then like, forget what the 3rd step is, but it's, you know, extremely important.
Yeah,
and,
you're powerless.
Yeah, powerless over drugs and alcohol. Right. So then, dude, you do all that. And then he starts you on your 4th step or whatever. The way they did it, dude, is then from then on, I work with the sponsor, Chad. Chad's the man, dude. I don't talk to him anymore. I really hope he's doing well because, like, he was a good dude, bro. Like, really gave a shit and, like, tried to help people. So then they have you write down everyone you've ever met in your life or can remember or whatever. And this is the point where, like, I was texting you that, like, I kind of took a different path, which, like, a lot of, like, the big book thumpers or, like, AA and NA probably aren't going to like this. But, like, dude, I'm fucking here and I'm living.
Yeah.
So, fuck it. Like,
many ways to do it.
Yeah. I'd write down everyone, whatever. And then you write down, like, the way they wronged you and then your piece of that wrong. And, like, I was like, dude, like, these people didn't wrong me, bro. Like, I was wrong. I'm wronging myself, dog. Like, they didn't do anything. Like, Chris didn't do anything to me. Why should I write down something that he wronged me? And, like, apparently that's going to lead, like, essentially what they're trying to get to is you to make the list, and then they're going to pick people. Like, I even saw in your AA book, you wrote, like, this is where Tommy stopped. I stopped at step 9 where it said, like, make amends to these people where it would not hurt you or them. And I said, dude, any further than this is hurting me. Because now I'm just reliving all this shit, which I'm trying to put that behind me. And that's when I kind of took a step away from the recovery communities. I said, all right, anytime I've been in these meetings before, the times I've relapsed was mostly after a meeting, remarkably enough, because that's all we talked about or thought about. And then in my brain, we talking and thinking about all that shit. I'm going to go do it.
And that's what those they work. They do work. Clearly, they work. Mm-hmm. I would even say it's probably not even probably. It is the best way to go. It is absolutely the best way to go. It's not the only way to go, but it's the best way to go. And when you're struggling and you need it, you have to do all that stuff. You have to let go. You have to. It's such a intense process. That's why. I mean, in my email, I was like, for a second, I was like, it's the biggest organization in the world, but it's not the biggest. It might be the most powerful. And again, there's countries and whatnot, other organizations, but like. Cure that many people, there's
it checks out.
Yeah, there's something there, but at the same time, because I like to kind of take both arguments or take both sides of each argument. It's like, yeah, totally get it. Most powerful, makes sense, but you are reliving it every single time. And my thing with addicts is you have to replace it.
Yep.
With another addiction. And I do mine. I do my push-ups. I meditate every morning. I go for my crazy long walks.
Dude, you are so spot on with that it's not even funny. Idle hands, it's in the book. Idle hands are the work of the devil, which, like, it doesn't mean devil and, like, Satan or whatever. It means the drugs and alcohol. Yeah. So, like, dude, if you're not going to be doing anything, you are so fucked. It's not even
so they have to replace it with the meeting. That's kind of
what a lot of people do.
And that's what I gathered was, and again, like, all for it. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. I just think, they're I don't even know. Again, like as you said about not being a professional.
All right, so dude, I'll just finish up where we left off. I just get to the recovery house. The leader there really, like, helped change my life with the Big Book Step study, and then with drug court, I had to do 3 months, 90 days in the recovery house. And then after that 90 days, you would usually, like, go to, like, a sober living facility, which is just, like, a house or an apartment with a bunch of people that are just sober, but there's no, like, binding contracts or, like, any, like legal or anything. Like, you don't have to be there. It's just a group of people that decide to live together and be sober. They call them sober living facilities or sober living houses.
And is that a halfway house?
No. So it goes like treatment center. So like inpatient rehab, which is what I call treatment center. Cause, like, I don't know, like, rehab gets kind of a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But, like, so you have inpatient treatment, then you have, like, your outpatient, like your OP or your IOP, intensive outpatient care. Those are, like, at facilities. And then while you're in outpatient, as soon as you get out of in-treatment where you're, like, living in the facility, you'll go to a halfway house first, which, like, still has, like, a bunch of like stringent rules and like all that shit while you're doing OP or IOP, which is outpatient care, intensive outpatient. That's like you go for a couple hours a day to like Miramont and Exton or like wherever, and just kind of continue like treatment and like learning about addiction and alcoholism and like whatever. They're good places, but like you go home at the end of the day.
Yeah,
like,
so that, I guess that's like one of the things that I am like curious of, because I just have no idea how it works. Like, are they, when you're doing in those places, like I know the first place you said you're like, oh, I'm playing volleyball and basketball.
dude,
like,
yeah, that was inpatient, and that was like a fucking resort.
yeah,
dude.
but
Like,
they're not. So at that point, they're not teaching you about addiction.
they
They're trying-
are, but like most of that is like, yeah, like they're teaching you about it and like the disease and like how it works in your brain and a bunch of, everywhere does it different. And then you have like your group therapy. So you'll have like different groups throughout the day. Like at that one, we had like 2 or 3 a day, and then you could just do whatever you want. And that's why I was like playing basketball, volleyball, and like having a sick time. Then like at the second one I went to, or like the second, third one, Colonial House in New York, like, dude, we had like 9 groups a day. We had like morning meditation, then like lecture about the disease, then like group, then like a one-on-one with your therapist, then like they would bring in a meeting, and then half the guys would go to like an out meeting, like the AA meeting you went to, or just wherever. They would like bus us there, or like they'd bring a meeting into the facility and stuff like that. So like that's kind of how that all went down, like, or that's how that works. But like you're learning the whole time, which is tough, because like the second or the third time I went into treatment, like the second 90 days I did, like I didn't need to learn anymore about the disease. Like I knew it, dude. I got it. Like I know like how the brain works and how it all worked. So like, dude, that's like went into like humbling myself again. Like, dude, I just sit through the same shit I just heard 2 months ago, like for like hours, and like just beat it into your head. And like it is important, but like I'm there to like figure out me, dog. Like, and like that's all part of it. But like, yeah, it's crazy. So you do learn a lot about it. Like, you know, they have like PowerPoints and like all that crazy shit, kind of like school.
yeah, I was gonna say,
Like,
it sounds like school. It sounds like,
and then after that, you'll do OP or IO, intensive outpatient. So IOP or OP, which is like, you go for 4 or 5 hours a day, you just like in a group, like you keep up the pace or whatever. They like want you to do those things. It's beneficial if you make it beneficial, but like for most people there, it's a have to, and like it sucks. But like, I don't know, dude. I try to make the best of it. Like the second time around, I really paid attention and like did like hard work. But like same type of thing for me. It was like, bro, like it'd be better if we just like didn't talk about this shit.
yeah, I was gonna say, I want to know what was it that worked for you? That, because like obviously there's gonna be something different.
I was
for
tired of
everybody.
letting people down, bro. Like I was so tired of having to look at my mom and dad and brother and sister and friends and Audrey and everybody, and just like, here he goes again. Like fucking Tom can't get it right.
Do you feel like people ever gave up hope? Do you feel like?
Yeah, 100%, dude. I think a lot of the boys did. I think whatever. Like, dude, like one of our boys' moms who, they have a house down the shore, and it's, I think who you think it is.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
dude, still to this day, like sees me, and every time she sees me, she starts crying. Like, cause like, I don't know, dude. Like everyone could see the good in me, and like,
Yeah.
dude, I couldn't see it, bro. I was just stuck and like looking in the mirror. Like, you know how that funny skit we always joke about? Like, I used to be a piece of shit. Like, dude, like I actually did used to be a piece
Yeah.
of shit, and I was telling myself that for such a long time. Like, you're a piece of shit. You're never gonna get this. Like, I never got as far as like you should just go use and die, which like I probably could have if I wanted to. Like, that's how real this shit is. Like, you go snort 2 bags of dope, you're probably gonna die. Like, it's
There's
just the way
always
it
the
is.
option was there.
Yeah, right. But yeah, dude, I think what really clicked is like, yeah, like I just so tired of letting everyone down, and like myself, like I said, back to like, dude, I should be great. And like at that point I was like, fuck, like I can be great. You know what I mean? And like that's where I am now. I'm a fucking great dude.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
I think that's what really clicked for me, bro. Is like, and like they would come for family visits on like up when I was in treatment and shit, and like, dude, just seeing their faces, like they would be so happy when they got there, and then like, I don't know, we'd be talking, they'd be like, dude, you don't belong here. And I'm like, I don't, but I need to be here right now.
Yeah.
And like my dad really got that, like hammered that home for my mom and shit, and like all that. It's like, listen, like he's just sick right now. He's gonna get better and he's gonna get it. But I think some people did. I think some people gave up hope.
I think the sick part is crucial for people to
Dude,
understand.
yeah, it's an illness.
You're sick,
bro.
You're
Like,
sick in the head, and you need, like, again, like, I'm just gonna quote my therapist the entire time because she's the one who's taught me everything. But it's, you know, my dad was a physical therapist, and it's
Yeah.
like, all right, somebody breaks their arm's broken. You need to fix it. It's your brain is broken in this
Yeah.
situation. Your brain
Yes.
is not how it's supposed to
you
be.
have a chemical imbalance which is another thing that's huge in like this community, the recovery community, is like, do you like allow people to take like Lipitor or like Xanax or Klonopin? Because like some people do have like chemical imbalance that you can't fix with like books and knowledge. Like you're just not gonna be able to fix it. It's a medical condition, and like a lot of people get hiccups about that, or like they have like Suboxone and Subutex.
Yeah.
Ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Dude, I'll say it right here on this, John. I am not, don't, anyone out there that's going through this shit, do not take that shit. You're gonna be hooked for the rest of your life on it. You're gonna have to take it for the rest of your life. Like, do the best you can. Go get a medical marijuana license. My medical marijuana license is for opioid use disorder. That is the medical reason why I have a card.
Yeah.
And
it scares,
works
I mean, for me,
beautifully.
I have one of my best friends is pro medication. I completely understand it because it's, again, there's different things for different people, and some people will need it. But with these kinds of things, after you go through these things, like I'm an addict, so like, I'm scared. Like my whole thing is, if I'd rather get hooked on running and hooked on meditation and hooked on, because like if I start to rely on that, I'm and I've never taken it, and I said that early on in my journey, is like, and it was suggested, like I can't. I know I can't, and not because I don't think it. It's not like I think it doesn't work. I know it works, but that's also why I'm afraid of it, because if it works, then I'm like, oh, like
Dude,
the
you're gonna
next
abuse
thing,
it.
the next, and then again, and it might take longer to do it the either natural way, and again, I think weed natural, like it's just like mushrooms natural, and like
for me, man, it's been a game changer. It has been like, it has taken away every craving and urge. And like some people like will be like, dude, well, this kid's just talking all this like Gucci shit about addiction and he's smoking weed. Like, yes, I fucking am, and it is working. So I'm gonna keep it up. Like, it's like some people use melatonin to go to sleep. Cool. I hit an indica pen twice and I'm gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's. I just think it's more of a natural way. But long story short of it is, I go to Bridgeway, the recovery house. I do my 90 days there, and then we start talking about like getting me an apartment, because my big thing in treatment was like, I want to be independent, dude. Like I don't want to live with my parents anymore. And like, dude, they're great and their setup is great, but like I need to like learn to live on my own and like do all that. So I think I'm the first person in like the history of the world to go from a recovery house to buying a home, like a legit home. Like I was literally living in a recovery house as we're moving shit into the house I live in now with my wife, like home, yard, the whole deal, mortgage, all of it.
Do you think that helped?
Yes, dude. That's the thing I texted you about. I bet 100% on myself. Like I put all chips in on me.
Yeah.
And like at this point, like I had something to lose now. You know what I mean? Whereas like before, like I don't give a fuck what happens to me. Like if I die, do whatever, who gives a shit? Yell at me, put me in jail. I don't give a shit what happens to me. You can do whatever you want to me. I'm tough as shit. Like I'll just, in here, I'm gold. Like whatever. And like I really wasn't, but I convinced myself I was. But yeah, like dude, that gave me like, now I have like responsibilities. And that's like with like becoming a dad here pretty soon is like so huge for me. And I'm so pumped about it, because like I was explaining this to one of our friends the other day. It's like, before, I really didn't care what happened to me. Even with like Audrey and my wife, and even like the house, like we said, like that was a big stepping stone for me. But like, dude, at the end of the day, if something happened to me, Audrey would be fine. She's good. You know what I mean? She's stable. It would suck, and it'd probably be really sad for her. But like, in the long run, she would be okay. Dude, now with those kids coming, like they fucking need me. Like they need me, and they need me at 100%. Like they don't need half-assed dad. Like they need, like I gotta be on, dude. And that's like, dude, keeps me going so hard right now. Like I really don't share that with a lot of people. Like I've never said it out loud, but like I think in my head all the time now, like, dude, these boys are gonna fucking need me. Like I gotta get dialed in here. Like like I'm pretty good mentally. And
it's
like,
game time.
Yeah, whatever now. Like, dude, I'm pretty good. I'm probably at like 90%. Like I need to be at 110. Like, and like this shit helps, you know what I mean? Or like, dude, just keep talking about this stuff. Or like, dude, get back right with my therapist. Like I took a month off from therapy. I'm fucking going back probably. Like, dude, like, like I don't know, you need it.
It's funny because one of my things, so like, and it's a different and small example, but like went through a breakup. I moved my furniture around,
dude.
Just literally to trick my brain into thinking
change
like,
of environment,
different. Something needs to be different, because if I go out into the same thing, like even if watch the same Netflix show, watch anything, like I'm back there. And again, these are all the things that I probably geek out on like way too much, but our brains are, like, we're on autopilot 99.9% of the time. So I have to figure out a way to like, all right, like all that stuff is going on, and with trauma specifically, like smells, We never lit that candle, but
Shout out back to you.
like anything.
Well, dude, that's what I was saying
it's a
earlier.
reminder.
Like, dude, I can like remember. And I was saying the first time, like, dude, I can taste it. Like, I can smell it. Like, I literally can like feel it in my body. Like, it's weird. But then to what you're saying about change of environment, dude, this is a key one that changes with me all the time. Nothing changes if nothing changes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, or like that's like another one that goes along with that. Like, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. You know what I mean? Like, dude, it's that I run that one through life.
Wait, I like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. Right? So like you can't change really everything that's going on in your like society or whatever, but like, dude, you can change the people you hang out with or talk to, and like, you know, be careful who you listen to because you're listening too. Like shit like that like is huge, bro.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, the change of environment is like, that's a big deal. But yeah, so then back to what we were saying before. Bought the house, moved in, got married. Fucking life's gold, dude.
It's been smooth sailing ever since.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, you know, there's ripples in the water, but I got a pretty fucking big boat, so I'll be all right. You know what I mean? Like,
and I didn't even have this. I didn't even think about this beforehand. But I wonder, for me, and I think for a lot of other people, especially in the AA community, from what I could sense from again the one meeting I went to, was that like the monster is inches away from you at all times, and it's right there on your back, and you got to do whatever. And like that's like I think alcohol specifically. I've never been somebody who abused alcohol, but I feel like the wrong day, the wrong thing, my dominoes. Like that's why I take this so seriously, because bro, it's right there.
Yeah.
It is possible, and it could come for me at any moment. So I got to be ready. And this is again all the things like people think the stuff I do is crazy, like, and it is a little bit, but like. Not eating, like I do these 3-day fasts.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to be so tough. Ice bath stuff, like anything. Like I got to be so tough to where when I get knocked down, like I got knocked down like a month ago. I'm like, I need, because I break and I do, but I need to have other things that have like put me in that position to know that like, all right, you can make it through this, you can make it through that.
bro, you got to get that armor on.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I call it, dude. Like when I wake up in the morning, I put that shit on. Like you got to, I don't know. I think like a morning meditation or whatever is massive for people. Just like get your mind right. And like, dude, maybe you're going to have to wake up 45 minutes earlier, a half hour earlier. Well, guess what, motherfucker? Getting up early is good for you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, dude, you're 100% right. Like that shit is right there all the time.
Yeah.
And like, dude, even myself, like,
because I ask because it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. So
because you're so there with it. And
dude, that or like just, I don't know, like for the people listening, what you just heard, like, dude, I was just so down and not a good guy for such a long time that I, like, if there's breath in my body when I wake up, I refuse to take an L for the day. I just refuse. And that looks different every day. And like, don't get me wrong, dude. Do I cry? Do I laugh? Yes, bro. I fucking cry in the car by myself almost every time I drive. But like, it helps me so, that's my release, dude.
cry nearly every day.
Right? Dude, it's so good for you, bro. Like, it's just, and yeah, like, I don't know, bro. I cannot tell you the last time I had a bad day, and some terrible shit has happened. But like, bro, when terrible shit happens to me, man, I'm like, God, like, what a joy to get through this. Or like, I get, like most people have tos. I get tos, right? Like, dude, you know, my car gets towed. Like, dude, like I get to walk my fat ass down there, and I get to talk to this guy, and I get to get my car back. A lot of people don't have that, dude.
That's funny. It's funny you say that, because like I always laugh. And like, so again, when things are good, things are great. Like I caught myself the other day. I was laying down reading a book, got up on that couch, had my Yeti, my 40-ounce Yeti, whatever, punted it, water all over the place. I just started laughing.
Dude, yeah.
I was like, this is like, if this is the biggest problem of my day, like.
Oh my God, dude! Shout out to that
Yeah,
phrase.
yeah, like I'm good. I'm good.
That or like I never want to stamp like my pain or stamp my name on anyone else's pain. But like, dude, like I think to myself sometimes, like, yeah, when some shit like happens like that, or like, dude, like odds got me like building a dresser or like some crazy shit that I just don't want to do, dude. Like Super Bowl Sunday, for example, we went out Saturday, like down here with everybody. We go back. It's, you know, early in the morning, and I wake up, dude, the Birds are about to play in the Super Bowl. Our squad, like, we got it dialed. You know what I mean? Like, we're ready to fucking go to war. And she's like, oh, like, can you build the dresser? And I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, I'm going to kill this girl. Like, dude, like, I wanted to be like, no, like, God, no, I can't build the dresser. Like, what are you talking about? Da, da, da. And then, dude, I just thought and was like, you know what, man? Like, someone else somewhere is building a bed. and a dresser's a lot easier to build than a bed. So like,
That's hilarious.
this isn't that bad. Or like someone else always has it worse. And really what I'm getting to, and like my whole story is about gratitude and perspective. Like, for one, be thankful. If you're fucking walking around, breathing, looking, seeing, even if you're not, if you're blind, whatever. If you are still alive and have breath in your body, be grateful. And then the second thing is like, take perspective. Take stock every night. Dude, I write in a gratitude journal and I make a perspective list every single night, dude. And that shit helps so much because you realize that, bro, your problems are this big.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, man.
It's funny because it's, I mean, you're still, and we talked about it, and I think that this is one of the most important things is like,
dude, yeah, you are hammering water. Shout out everyone, be hydrated out there, ladies and gentlemen. That's will also help you tremendously if you stay hydrated. But yeah, no, I'll just speak on like gratitude and perspective, and like, yeah, when you like asked me earlier, like or like a couple days ago, like what's the best thing you learned from this journey? It's those two things.
yeah,
Because like, I don't know, I put it in any situation where like some shit's not going right or things could potentially go wrong. I'd just be like, dude, you gotta be grateful.
that's again the whole. I mean, when you see the worst of it within yourself, I mean, yeah, then every other day is. And I still forget it. You know what I mean? Like people still forget it. It's a constant battle, and it's like it's exciting that because like that's I would say 2 years ago, I felt like that every single day, and I thought I cured all. I thought I won. It was over. I'm good. And then I got triggered.
Yeah.
It happens, and like that's why I was asking like about it being close, because yeah, it can, but when you attack it the way you're attacking it, that's why it stays far away.
Yeah, you gotta be proactive.
Yeah.
In your mental health for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
If you wait for shit to happen and then try to fix it, you're fucked. Like, fucking bridge breaks and then homie drives over the bridge, you're dead. Like,
Yeah.
well, what if we checked the bridge 5 months before it broke? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I guess before getting out of the like recovery and everything, the support systems that you had, obviously you mentioned our friends. Our friends are ridiculous. Like, and you might not even, I mean, obviously you would assume this, but like I remember, and again, we weren't as close at that point. I remember being like, Tommy, all right? And like those guys were always, like they were in tune, whether like either you knew it or not. Maybe they were in communication with your family.
Dude,
like Audrey and the boys, like they, from the outside, from a little bit on the outside at that point, I mean, they were like, talk about having a shield.
God.
They
Bro,
were up there.
I owe two of our friends and, well, really everybody, yourself included, like, thank you to that because they took care of, like, my wife while I was, like, we weren't married at the time, but they made sure Aud was good.
Dude, they did.
Like, dude, yeah, 100%.
They did.
Like,
I remember that.
Specifically, two of them who we don't have to mention, but they know who they are.
Yeah.
Dude, would take her out to eat, would do all the things I would do when, like, I couldn't be there or was trying to figure my own shit out, which, like, dude, you don't have that in a lot of people, bro. It's like, that I will be indebted to them for the rest of my life for.
Yeah.
And that's why anytime they need me, I'm there.
Yeah.
When they call, like, dude, they're shitheads, and, like, we give them a lot of shit, but, like, dude, anytime I've really needed those dudes, they're there.
Yeah, and I'm like tearing up because it's
Yeah.
true. I
No,
mean, that's
dude, it is.
And they
It's,
don't even. Sometimes they don't even realize.
No.
And that's the thing. Is like,
Well, that's like homie's mom that every time I see her, she cries. And I'm just like, dude, like, but yeah, so my support's like, Audrey was obviously number one, like, did everything for me that I needed while I couldn't be there. And then my mom and dad just picked up the slack immensely, like, just as far as like a financial back, like, dude, couldn't work at that time, obviously. So, like, anything I needed, they made sure I had, and all that. And, like, dude, like you said, they just never, ever once gave up on me. Like, not one time. It was never uttered. It was never mentioned. The only time it was ever mentioned is me and Aud were having, like, family meetings every Tuesday while I was in treatment. She would drive up and, like, because, like, the more support you have, the better off you're going to be, right? You need, like, an army behind you. You really do. And so she would come up and, like, the one meeting, like, I talked to her about, I was like, it was the last time I was in treatment, and I was like, listen, like, if I relapse again, like, you got to move on with your life. And, like, we were both crying about it. Like, it was tough, a really hard conversation to have, but I was like, dude, I'm tired of holding you back. Like, you can do amazing and great and wonderful things, and, like, dude, I'm just here, like, I'm an anchor right now. Like, I'm just sinking you to the bottom of the ocean. And yeah, and, like, luckily for me, I fucking got it. So, like, maybe that had a lot to do with it. Like, I just had a lot to lose at the time. Like, not even a lot to lose, but, like, I had a life that I could see that I wanted so bad, and it just needed, like, maximum effort from me for a couple months. And like, that's what happened. Cause like,
Yeah. And you can change it. You can change if you put it in.
bro.
Like you said about the 90 days. Like if you just do 90 days.
Dude. Which seems like forever. For anyone that's listening, that's thinking about doing it, like, dude, like, they'll tell you this in the rooms too. 1 day at a time. Guess what, motherfucker? 1 day at a time didn't work for me. I needed 1 minute at a time. Dude, I would literally like sit and look at the clock and be like, oh my God, like, I need to get out of here. I got to go, whatever. And then I'm like, all right, like, dude, do a minute. Or like meals, bro. I would break it down with meals. Like when I was in treatment, I'm like, all right, I'm leaving after breakfast. Like, I'm fucking out of here. I can't do this shit anymore. Make it to breakfast. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm going to make it to lunch. Like, I'm going to make it to lunch. Like, I'm going to try and make it to lunch. Like, okay, you made it to lunch. All right. All right, man. Like, I'm gone after lunch. Like, dude, okay, let me try to make it to dinner. Then like, okay, I'm going to make
Dude,
it to
again,
dinner.
back to why you're able to look at it like this. Like when you're slicing up life like that, no wonder you're good. You know, no wonder you can look at it the way you do now.
Bro, exactly. And then, then I'm like, dude, my fat ass isn't leaving in the cold, bro. Like, I'll wait till the morning the next day. Then I'm definitely going to wait till breakfast. I don't want to leave hungry.
Yeah.
Like, all right. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And like, dude, that's kind of how I did it for a lot of the time. And like, dude, I do that to this day. Like if there were things I don't want to do, like, dude, I just break it down to like small time segments or like meals or like, I don't know, bro.
It's like, all right, I can do it.
Yeah, right? Oh, but the support thing, dude, we were talking about, sorry. It's you need, like, God bless anyone out there that can do it by themselves. I can't. I couldn't. I won't. Still to this day, I don't.
And I don't know if anybody can.
No, bro, I really don't think you can do it by yourself.
Because and the people that are by themselves, unfortunately, that's where I think the AA, NA, that's where the group comes in.
Yes,
That's where,
bro.
when you don't, again, we both lucky as shit.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah, we
families,
really do.
support, friends, some people to grow up and have the chance to have somebody like, our best friends. I don't know. I'm just taken back by what you said about the boys taking care of Audrey because
Dude,
that is.
And I never asked them to. I didn't tell them to do it. Like, dude, they just did it. Like, they
That's a
just
friend.
did it because they knew. Well, dude, they're like you guys are like brothers, bro. Like, we're brothers, dude. Fuck friends. We're closer.
Yeah,
than
yeah.
Bro. Like, people have friends. Like, that's cool. We have something better than that. I don't know what you want to call it, but like,
I've always said my friends are my family.
yeah,
Like,
dude.
It's.
Well, like 100%, bro. 100%.
And we also spend a lot of time. That's the other thing, the time.
And like, we know each other, like the real, like, dude, even when like you were going through all that or like me, like, dude, I know the real you from the real you is the you that we're 12 years old running around. Like, you know what I mean? That's the real you or like the real me or whatever. And like, that's why no one gave up on your boy is because like they could see it. Like when I couldn't see it, dude, they could see it in me. Cause like, even like, like our friends' parents or people on the outside were like, dude, I just would remember you as the little kid that would, like do anything for anybody. And I'm like, dude, all right, weird. And then they're like, now you got to do something for yourself. And I'm like, fuck. Like, dude, so one of our friends' dad said that to me, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I had a good friend that, and he'll remember this. He said to me, if you just loved yourself as much as everybody else loves you, you'd be fine.
yeah, that's a good one for you.
And I was like, yo, like, and now I'm starting to do it. And that's the thing. I've been doing it. And that's and I love the saying of the, planes going down. You got to put your mask on first so you can take care of everybody else.
Dude.
You need to take care of yourself. Loving, and that's what a lot of meditation too.
Okay, bro. So then that leads perfectly into the psychedelic thing we're about to talk about. Okay, so, dude, like I said, I'm former drug addict, all this shit. I take psychedelics maybe once a year, and I just did this past weekend with a bunch of our friends, and it was awesome. But normally I just do them by myself. However, what you said is so true. I think there's a stigma about psychedelics that like it's gonna solve your problems, or like you'll see like, like the wizard or some shit, and it'll like tell you the key to life. Like, dude, you got to get right with yourself before you do that shit. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Or at least like, for me, like, dude, you
got to get the ball moving.
Yes, bro.
You're
so right.
I was fortunate that it happened for me. Is that like I started trying to get in shape a month before I opened up in therapy. The next weekend, I happened to trip on LSD,
bro.
and it took me on a rocket but without starting it, because what I at least realized was you can do this.
Yes.
You can, and like you try and it's going well. Bang! If you hit the gas.
Yeah. No, you're so right. Because that's what I was trying to like basically say is that like, if you go in that really questioning who you are, I don't think it's going to be a good time for you. I think you're going to get really, really scared. And it might work. Who knows? Like maybe some people that does work and they really flip a switch. But like for me and like, like that trauma-based relief from like the like, you know, plant-based medicines and like fungi-based medicines, which like, dude, everyone's like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, dude, people have been using these things for millions, thousands of years. Like, the Eastern Asia area, like, dude, that's all their medicine is. They don't do fucking Advil.
That's where
they
like religion comes from.
Right? Exactly, dude, right? So, dude, I think it is so monumental. But like you said, like, for anyone out there that wants to give it a rip or whatever, like, dude, maybe like get a journal and journal for a week and then do it. Or like, you got to do something to help yourself before you jump into that. Because if you do that, it's like you said, you'll just be sent on a rocket ship towards like the right shit. Whereas I think if you go about it any other way, you're toast. But yeah, I think psychedelics get a lot of hate because people don't understand them, and are you know, knowledge is power and ignorance is bliss. And I think a lot of people live in an ignorant state when it comes to those because of, like, you know, you just don't want people running around tripping balls.
And it was beaten into it, like the 70s have, you know, definitely gone in on the war against drugs and everything like that. Like it was like, it's all fake.
Right,
it's all not real.
Money thing.
Yeah, it's all not.
Like
and
Nancy Reagan.
votes, everything.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, like these guys are going to vote left, so let's hit them, you know,
Dude,
like,
right?
It's like when that's what it all comes down to, and then you realize, and like somebody said it to me the other day, one of the most successful studies ever for depression was like through psychedelics. And it's like, well, you know, that's happening now. It's definitely, it's going to take its time. And the way that I look at that, and I've talked about it a lot, I've written about it, like, I think that we're getting groomed right now to be ready for it. The same way, and I wrote and never finished my senior thesis in college about the legalization of sports gambling in the United States. I noticed that you slowly, to change society, it started out, they started mentioning it on the midnight Scott Van Pelt show about a little gambling segment or a little comment. Then they have a little segment. Then it's on the 10 p.m. instead of the midnight. And then it's on at the very end, the fourth quarter, Al Michaels on Monday Night Football mentions it at the very end. Oh, that touchdown was important to somebody, you know, something like that. Like they slowly get you ready. And then all of a sudden it's on the morning news, gambling. And it's like over 5 years now, you can't turn a game on without the commercials. But they're doing the same thing with psychedelics. If you pay attention to like again, the same thing. Late night news, it actually started, because I was looking into it, it started over in the UK, some of those segments. So like it's kind of like on at 3 o'clock in the morning for us. So it starts there, then it gets to, you know, a little bit here on a clip on the radio.
Dude, Netflix, that Fantastic Fungi.
Yeah, exactly. Then it goes Netflix, then it goes like the Michael Pollan book, he's on Joe Rogan, everything happens, and we're slowly getting groomed to be ready for it, which I think is probably appropriate, because to be like, all right, mushrooms are legal, everybody's tripping.
You can't do that, dude. I mean, they did in California, and it's having tremendous results. Like the legalization of psychedelic mushrooms. But like, I don't know, dude. It's what our one boy always says. You restarting the hard drive, man. Like, and I think that is so important for people. And like, I don't know. At least for me, there's no other way to completely clear like my brain synopsis other than that. Which is why, like, dude, don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone out there going crazy. Like, I'm not running around here doing mushrooms every 5 days. I do it maybe once a year, just to like get right with myself and like my spirit and who I am. Like, but I don't know, dude, however you get to that point is really what it's about for me and for you, or for however, like, that's how I get there. But like, dude, some people can get there naturally. Good for you. Like, but yeah, I think it carries an awful stigma. Like, dude, all this shit does, like, even like the weed and like all that, like, thank God that's become more like readily accessible for people. But like, I don't know, bro. I think, there's just a lot of people shooting their ideas into shit that like they have no reason to turn down. You know what I mean?
And the one that fascinates me is just look what kills people more. It's like alcohol.
Dude, it's the worst.
Alcohol is, and it's
most available.
It's America is out like beer. You know, like but like it's not
And like, we're not saying don't drink. Right?
Yeah.
Like moderation, bro. Like, take it. You know what I'm saying? And that's with anything. But
and then unfortunately, it just all gets back to money. It's like, so I hope the same thing doesn't happen.
We're on a good pace though. Like, we're on like a good, like you said, like it's being slowly filtered in, and people are starting to understand. It's on, which I always say, like when I teach, it's a crawl, walk, run evolution of learning, right? Like, first you crawl, then you learn to walk, then you're gone. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of, I hope it gets to that point, and I hope a lot of this older generation, I feel like the younger people are like really onto it. We're like, dude, it's becoming very helpful, especially like, dude, like you said, like in like trauma, like serious trauma. Like, like my story is great and all, and like it was traumatic for like me, but like, dude, I wasn't like abused or like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, like
Yeah.
for like rape victims and about thing like that, like they're going into like psychoanalytics on that stuff. And like, dude, it is saving people, man. Like trauma-based therapy through psychedelics, bro. Like, hey, you might want to give it a shot. Like,
It's it.
you know
It's
what I
it.
mean?
It
I'm
is.
with you. I'm with you.
It's funny you said about it, the next generation, because that's also another big thing. It's like, let's listen to the kids that are younger than us. They get it. They get it. They get it. And when we went axe throwing the other day, I talked to the kid. He's 18 years old, and he said he's like, you know, he was huge, and I was like, dude, like, yeah, like you must be like a workout
Yeah,
fiend.
the
Like
kid was
he's
yoked.
yeah. And we were talking about drinking. He's like, yeah, I don't really like why would I drink? Like I don't like.
Dude, I think a lot of people are coming around to that
And he
idea.
goes, you know, like mushrooms and stuff, like way better. And I'm like, whoa, like this is happening, which is
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's a good thing.
I'm not out here preaching like go do a bunch of whatever, but like, bro, somebody like don't turn it down. Don't immediately rub it in the dirt because it's got this stigma.
Even
behind
just
it.
socially, even just like, again, that's parents.
Dude, they sell I don't know what it is. I've seen like a YouTube video or whatever, like one of the ads. Like, dude, they're called like super mush or something.
Yeah.
They're not psychedelic mushrooms, but they're mushrooms of some sort. Where like, dude, it's just for like instead of taking like Ritalin or like what's the other one, the Adderall
yeah.
and all that shit. Like, dude, you do one of the like you
Sure,
take a little
pump
bit
with.
of, bro. It's bizarre, dude. It is bizarre.
And I just the stigma around it, and that's what I am gonna talk a ton about is the stigma around it. Because I said to the lady yesterday I met on the train, I gave 30 minutes. We get so deep. I tell her my life story, and I said, you know what I think saved my life. And there's many different things, but like one thing, I tripped on LSD.
Yeah.
And I, like
In
you
a
said about
breakthrough moment.
yeah, when you said about like feeling, normal, I looked at the grass and I was like, the grass is breathing. Like this is what's happening around me, and I'm so in my head, and like all this stuff is happening like nonstop. What is going on? And that's when but the difference was I was able to take that and it stayed
Yes.
for a long time, and it's still it's still with me. Like it now I can see like, oh, that's how life is. Life is this beautiful. There is this connectivity between people, between things.
Yes, dude.
Even the grass. I mean, especially the grass.
You start understanding that, you can open up a whole new life. And like that just goes back to like, dude, like you put good out, you get good back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know. That's like a good principle I think to live by, like almost like a karma type thing. Like, bro, just like I think the world would be a lot better place if people weren't such assholes to each other. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's sad, dude.
Like we talked about, it starts with themselves.
Yeah, dude.
It starts-
Everyone's just so selfish.
Because the
nowadays.
people like you, and I say, I've never seen you without like a smile on your face. Like, well, you've been kind to yourself.
Yes, dude.
Because when I, growing up, bullying kids, I had like a bad bullying phase. I was like, well, dude, I was like not good with me, so I was taking it out on others, and that's what I see. I saw a video the other day about, unfortunately, a lady. She was in a coffee shop. She was being like it was one of those Karen videos. She was freaking out and was just being so incredibly racist. And what I saw, and like, it made me sad. Like, yes, obviously terrible, but like anybody would be able to tell that, like, that's just like awful human behavior. You never treat somebody like that. But like from my perspective, I was like, I see such a hurt little girl,
Dude,
like a hurt, crushed, broken little person who never got the love that they deserve. Because if you do, you don't
wouldn't
act like that. Yeah. It's like,
Bro, it comes back to everything we said. Like, you don't have a bullying problem, you have a Christopher problem.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that lady didn't have a problem that her coffee was too hot or that someone of a minority group was serving it to her. She's clearly got something very, very wrong within her own self. And, like,
yeah.
it's incredible how people manifest those things out into the world. It's like you said, dude, it's truly sad. Like, it is truly, truly sad.
So clearly, like you've done the work that you need to do. You're also coaching. What other, one of the things that I want to ask every guest when they come on is like, what do you want people to get out of this? But just like, even if it's just one thing.
Yeah.
One thing.
So, I don't know. Anytime I talk or like think about that, like, dude, what do I want someone to get when I speak or tell my story? And it's really the three things, right? So it's the first is gratitude, right? You need to change a mentality of I have to I get to. right? That is number one. That's a Dr. Elko thing. He works with the Eagles. He works with my pops. And like, I always shit on Dr. Elko, but like secretly, dude, I do it out loud. I do it kind of to piss my dad off because he's like all about him. He's like one of my dad's boys. And I'm like, this guy doesn't know. Dude, that guy's on it. Dr. Elko, if you're listening to this, you're the fucking man. So that's from him, right? That's, you got to have an attitude of gratitude, right? Which like we learn, we hear when we're little kids and we sing the song or whatever. But like, dude, that is truly it. Like, if you can change your mentality from, I have to sit in traffic on my way to work to, I get to sit in traffic,
Yeah.
you're going to have leaps and bounds of change. The second is perspective, right? Which I spoke on earlier, but it is like you got to blast yourself back to earth sometimes. Be where your feet are, right? That's what I always say to Audrey. I say, Aud, when she gets all worked up or whatever and she's like doing things and planning the calendar, hey, be where your feet are. She probably hates hearing it now, but it is the truth, dude. Like, and some days you literally have to look down and look at your feet.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
And ground yourself. I mean,
dude,
just even the taking
100%, bro. Be where your feet are. And that means it's like, bro, worrying about tomorrow doesn't take away tomorrow's worries. Worrying about tomorrow ruins today's peace. Right? That's a heater for you, Christopher.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'll say it again. Worrying about tomorrow does not take away tomorrow's worries. Worrying about tomorrow ruins today's peace, right? So that's really what the perspective thing I mean by that is. Like, just, dude, be where your feet are. Think about someone outside of yourself, man. Like, be grounded, be understanding. If you want to be understood, learn to understand.
Yeah.
Right? That type of shit. So gratitude, perspective. And the last one for me is you can restart your day at any time, right? You can restart your whole day at any time. It's 5:17 at night right now. I can restart my day at 5:17 and a half. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, and sometimes you literally have to get your dumb ass in the bed, put the covers on, take the covers off, get back out of the bed, restart your day at any time.
I've never done that.
Dude, it works, bro.
yeah.
If you're having a rough day. So those are my three things. Yeah, man. Attitude of gratitude, perspective, be where your feet are. Don't worry about tomorrow. You're just ruining today. And then the other one is, yeah, man, you can restart your day at any time. And that's really, I do those three things every day. And like, that's why I'm such a happy cat.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. Somebody said to me after the AA meeting the other night, he goes, yeah, when I'm taking like life too seriously, I just kind of remember we're all on a rock flying through space.
Dude,
we're
you
just
are
ants.
a sack of blood and bones flying through space on a rock. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, for real. Like,
Yeah.
that's another good one, dude. There's number 4 for
and it's
me.
hard. I guess that's another thing. Like part of my, like the balance of all this, like it's hard. Like it's so easy to forget. And it's so, I still do at times every day or multiple times a day or anything like that. Like there's still, and like just this conversation and being able to hear your story. Again, I knew it, but when you hear it like this, when you hear like every single part is, you know, one of the things that I try to live by is you don't know what the person next to you on the bus is going through. Mm-hmm. You don't know what it's like to live in their shoes. And my mom always says, you know, I complained about having no shoes until I met the man with no feet.
There you go.
And like we all just don't know. And that's all I want to do is to promote kindness, empathy. Mm-hmm. Just let's all love a little bit more. I mean, it's like, you know, it's so hard to wake up every day.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Whether you make it, whether you don't, whether, you know, some people have, you know, much deeper struggles than others, but we're all going through the same thing.
Yeah,
it's like the
it's
human
like,
condition.
Life's already kicking all our asses. I don't need me to kick my ass twice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and even the funny thing is, like, scientifically or whatever it is, like, we're just such little weak animals, and you have the entire universe that's working against your body. And the fact that we're still like have our feet on the ground is
bro.
Amazing.
People are incredibly stronger than they think, and I don't mean that in like a physical strength. I mean mentally.
Yeah.
Like the human brain, dude.
Yeah.
It's the most resilient piece of work you'd ever seen in your life. Like it is bizarre.
It's beautiful.
It is. It really is beautiful. You're exactly right.
Yeah. Well, wow. Well, first off, thank you.
Dude,
second, I love you.
Thank you, brother. I love you more, Christopher.
You know, I set out and I wanted, like I said, you know, I want to be able to change the world and just to change. You've changed my life today in a way that, you know, I'm never going to forget this. It means the absolute world to me, and I think not even I think I know it'll mean the world to other people. So that's a good place to wrap up the chat. But something that I'm going to try to do with every guest is, I asked before you came on about an organization or two that we could provide donations to, because I listen to podcasts all the time that move me, that shape me, that change my life. And sometimes I would love to have a little button to say like, hey, can I give like 5, 10, 20, like whatever dollars you have, anything like that to go to a cause. And, you gave me a couple before we chatted. I guess first, and again, back to where we started with coaching and stuff like that, the Children's Literacy Foundation. One we're going to donate to.
So the Children's Literacy Foundation is huge for me. I'm in the education field, or soon will be, and knowledge is power. And you get most of your knowledge, especially at an adolescent level, through books and through reading and through writing. And like the English language arts are an incredible game. And there are so many kids out there today that do not have proper materials, instruction, teachers, and they are becoming illiterate at an incredible rate. And if, like we said, like we want to change the world, we want to change people's perspective, we want to make, we want our time here to be worth it, and do something, leave the essentially world, or for me, it's leave my students and players better than when I found them. And I think that the way to do that is through literacy. Dude, you don't even have to donate money for anyone that's listening to. Donate your time. You know what I mean? Go to your local library, wherever you're watching this. Like, hopefully you still have a local library. I know a lot of places don't, right? Yeah. If they do, dude, they have programs where you can go in and read to kids. You can go in and help kids write. You don't have to be an English teacher. You don't have to have a degree. Like, dude, just if you can read, like, dude, go in and donate your time. Even not with kids, like homeless shelters, women's and children's shelters. Like, dude, go in and help somebody other than yourself. That's really what that is about. And then the second one is an organization called Not One More. I'm literally wearing the bracelet right now.
Nice.
Not One More is an overdose awareness foundation. It was partly started, I'm trying not to get emotional with this one, a kid I was in treatment with, his name was Tate. He unfortunately did not make it, and his family went out and decided to start a foundation in his honor. And they do great work trying to help people who are struggling in addiction get treatment, help the families of those who overdose, because that's something no one ever talks about, dude. Like, how do you lose a son and bounce back from that, right? You really can't. Tate's youngest sister is 8 years old. She found him. She's going to have to live with that. She needs therapy. She needs help for that. There's one that if you do have any extra money, that would be huge. Yeah. It's Not One More. They also have sick T-shirts. It's like a Reaper with like a thing, and it's like says drugs. And they also have one that say like kill your local heroin dealer and shit. So I would say those two are that's what I'm about, dude. I'm about helping the kiddies and helping people get right.
Yeah, dude, and that's that's an amazing and beautiful place to leave off, because the families, it's something that we didn't get to talk about too much, and we'll talk again.
100%.
We'll get back there, but you can't. I'm hoping to shine some light on some stories that are able to help those families, because it's I can't imagine. And those are I like to think that I can empathize with everybody. There's certain areas I can't imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. My last thing that I'll say is, listen, if you haven't told anyone you love them today, go fucking tell somebody you love them.
Let's go.
That's it from me.
I love you, Tommy.
Love you too, brother.
Let's fucking go.